Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. We're happy you're spending some time with us, Chip and Zay, right here on the Midday, Texas Sports Unfiltered. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, feel free to comment, play along. It's your show. If you are listening to us on the Texas Sports Unfiltered app, then play along on the Circuit of the Americas COTA text line at 512-222-9328. You know, so when Zay gets to conjuring and just walling, you can rein him in on the COTA text line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're really wilding by saying wallin'.
You're really walling.
You say some pretty white stuff from time to time, but wallin', I don't think anything beats that. But
well, that's why I'm here.
That's why.
I'm here to be the square peg in the round hole. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Hey yo.
Yo. Whoa. It is an off the rails Thursday. Chip Brown and Zay, the right call, Collier. Wilding.
No, the D silent.
Wilding.
The D silent.
Wilding.
I don't know why it's silent. I don't know who.
Wilding.
I don't know why.
Hey, you wilding.
There we go. Yeah, you wilding.
Wilding.
Yeah, you wilding.
What you mean?
Yeah, like Puka Nacua, wilding.
Wilding.
Puka Nacua, wilding.
Yeah, I know. He did it all over my Lions last Sunday afternoon. Thanks.
That's a good wilding. Well, not for you, but for football fans like myself, because that Puka Nacua could play. But you never want to apologize on social media for a mistake you made on social media. And Puka Nacua had to do that today. So
what do you do?
He was on one of those famous streams. And the streamer, who is Jewish, I think, did something, and it was like, Puka, can you do this celebration when you score a touchdown? And I think the celebration is anti-Semitic. So, yeah, Puka didn't know. I don't know. But he had to apologize for it. And he was saying all types of wild stuff on the streams. Like he was talking about referees at one point, saying refs are kind of shady. And the fact that you can't tell me, this is what he said. You can't tell me, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but you can't tell me these refs aren't going back to the locker room and texting their homeboys because they like the shine, saying, man, you see me call that PI call on that dude? It wasn't PI, but I got him anyway. It's like, Puka, like, why? I get it. You're young. The streaming, that's the new wave. That's what Gen Z, whatever gens before that, that's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it, but hey, we got our stream up here. Stream us on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I see you live every day. If you listen to us there, appreciate you. But that's that era. You know what I'm saying? Puka Nacua, mid-20s, you know. And remember where he went. You know, he went to BYU. So now he in LA. Going from Provo to Los Angeles, that's a big jump, man. That's a big
fast.
That's fast. That's fast movement.
Life gets a whole lot faster.
Yeah. So, and Puka's the man. Like
he was last Sunday.
Yo, Puka's the man. And he got the hair. He's got that surfer look that's perfect for Cali. So you know the honey's feeling it. I don't know if he's married or taken, but I'm sure Puka Nacua does well. So, yeah, you know, life moves fast, and you could get caught up real quick. And Puka had to apologize today. And he just, you know.
Come on, Puka.
Come on, Puka.
Wake up. Wake up. Don't be wilding.
Yeah, no one should be wilding.
No one should be wilding.
No one should be wilding.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shout out to Ricky Stewart, man. I don't even remember you on the field. I don't even know, like.
I almost put him in our opt-out tracker, and then I was like, no one ever saw him. So
wow, come on, man.
Why?
Come on.
Come on.
He was going through those Torrey Beckton brutal workouts. He was there. He was getting lit up in scout team, I'm sure. I'm sure, you know, he was a part of the success. I'd like to think that maybe in some way he helped Colin Simmons turn around. Like Colin Simmons got a good lick on him, and Colin Simmons was like, okay, this was around maybe after UTEP. And then that's what woke Colin Simmons up. This is me conjuring. I know this is what I do, but he's a part of the team. That's what I'm trying to say. You out here not putting him on the tracker. That's wrong, Chip. He's a part of the team.
He didn't sniff the field.
Who's
hey, listen, Ricky, I'll put you in the opt-out tracker. I'll give you one sentence.
There we go.
You won't get as much as DeAndre Moore, Leonga Lafau, Derek Williams, Anthony Hill, Michael Taff, Ethan Burke.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot of opt-outs.
It's a lot of opt-outs.
I think I heard Lee Sterling on Bucky and BK that he's picking Michigan.
Ooh.
To beat Texas in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
Poggy. I mean, I guess they're gonna be motivated. I guess they want to show everyone that they could win without their coach that apparently everyone wanted out anyway. So, sure. I mean, hey, Lee's one of the best. I respect all his takes. He feels that way. Salute him for that take. But I think Texas go in here and make some things happen. But the guys that want to be here, we're finding out a lot of guys don't want to be here. That I'm shocked that don't want to be here. Sometimes you take less money, Chip. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, hey, y'all are right. My production this year, it wasn't up to what I made. I stole money. But I love this university. I love my team. I'm sorry I didn't play up to my abilities and where y'all think I should be owed. So you know what? I'll take less money because it can't be that much less. It's not like they going from whatever they were making before to straight up zero. But for the sake of the team, it's still a team game. So if I'm taking less money, we didn't make the college football playoff. So if I'm taking less money because I want to make the college football playoff, oh, yeah, but the committee screwed us. Yeah, I know we talked about that. But either way, Oklahoma playing, you ain't. A&M's hosting the game at Kyle Field. You ain't hosting the game at DKR. You in Orlando. So all these guys that don't want, okay, you have every right to feel like you're owed a certain amount and bet on yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what this beautiful country allows. You bet on yourself and do whatever you want with that. Cool. But also, when you're playing a team game, if I'm Steve Sarkeesian, I want the guys who want to be here. And sometimes that's sacrificing. And that means taking less money because I want my team to get over the top and not be in the situation they were here in college football playoff. So Yeah, it sucks. It sucks to see some of these guys go. And I get the guys going to the NFL, they don't have any eligibility left. That's obviously understandable. But the guys that I'm hearing that, want more money, didn't like their deals, and then you go and look at their stats and you're wondering what you want more money for. Where is this coming from? Who are we blaming here? All right, well, fine. Best of luck. You gonna move on, we gonna move on too. And that's just the mindset that you gotta have, because it is the wild, wild west out here. But you gotta have guys that want to be here and that want to be a part of the grind and that love the university. And if those guys that don't like all those things, they get weeded out, so be it.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough that DeAndre Moore is opting out. He's a guy who has been a good leader for the program, guy who's given his all, but it's not working out. So DeAndre Moore, he's like, toodles. I got things to do.
Weird. I mean, he's trying to go to the league. If he goes somewhere else, that's where it's like, wow. Where was the disconnect? And we've talked about it. We talked about it. Like, the dude had some serious goals for himself. That's on tape. He was throwing out all types of numbers where I'm like, okay, bro, what kind of offseason you have to be talking like this? I like it. I dig it. I like a dude being confident, but also you got to be realistic, and how realistic is he? Because again, we're hearing that he's one of the ones who's asked for more money, which, hey,
no, not necessarily. He just didn't like the offer they gave him.
Okay. He didn't like, okay. Okay. Didn't like the offer that they gave him.
They may have given him a haircut. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on. Stop it. A haircut and a bologna sandwich. Is that what you're saying next?
A little reduction in salary.
Yeah. Like, you want to win or not? We didn't win. Like, if you win a national championship or get close,
I'm not going to get mad at the guy for being upset watching who get 89 targets and only catch 55% of them.
Oh, I hear that.
To each his own.
I hear that. But also, man, I saw some drops too from him.
Yep.
Like,
yes, you did.
So I just,
and it's weird, man, because Chris Jackson's contract is up. Like, what's going on at the receiver position? So,
yeah,
it's
because these guys that rode Pine all year, these freshmen, they got paid. They got some money to just sit around and I guess go to class, which is free.
Buy some new jewelry.
Yeah, buy some new jewelry. Is
what I heard.
On some honeys on West Campus because you got it. Why not? You know what I'm saying? I'm taking the honey to Cabo Bob's. You want a burrito bowl? I got you. I got it. I ain't playing, so I got time.
I got time and money for your burrito bowl.
I got time and money. It's like, where are these guys? What's going on here? Like, yeah. I like DeAndre Moore, man. I really do. Like, I'm not trying to knock him at all. I expected him to have a big season also. Was very shocked that he didn't have that season. But again, it was just a trickle-down effect from the offensive line having their struggles, Arch Manning having their struggles, Steve Sarkeesian not calling the right plays. You're trying to go down the field instead of doing dink and dunk stuff. You know what I'm saying? It just, everything was bad at different times, which led to...
Why is it always the offense that's, come on, Sark.
I mean,
PK is good for a couple of prevent defense calls that'll blow your mind, but Sark, it's like, are we running the ball? Yeah, we're running it. We're running it good. Well, I don't know. Let's throw it around a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I need Jabbar Jaloop calling Jaden Ball every hour on the hour. It's easy. It's easy. Just ask him, what's up, bro? You good?
Hey, how you doing? What's
How
happening?
you doing? Yeah, how mama? How mama? Because we need somebody that can actually talk more than football, Chad Scott. You ain't asking me about my girlfriend. You ain't asking me about my mama. You ain't asking me about Uncle JoJo.
Zay is on one today. Zay's off the rails Thursday. Did you play golf today?
Yo, I did not play golf today, but yo, Tashard Choice was going to Uncle Juju's birthday. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Tashard Choice, it was deep. That connection was deep.
That was deep.
The players in that room. It was there. So that's what I picture. I picture stuff like that. Tashard Choice going to Uncle Jerome's house because that means so much to that player. Uncle Jerome is the one that put the football in the player that you recruited's hands. You know what that player that you got, what Uncle Jerome means to him. I don't know. Chad Scott was doing that. Ricky Stewart said, this ain't it.
Jared Gibson said,
mid-season.
Deuces.
CJ Baxter might have met his future wife here.
Oh,
said, I'm out. I can't do this no more, Steve.
I want CJ to have a good landing spot, fresh start.
That's going to hurt. I want him to succeed too. But he's going to do well, and it's going to hurt to see it.
Well,
it's going to hurt to see it.
Not if, So I wrote about this today in the Insider that Jaden Baugh, rising junior at Florida, is expected to get into the portal come January 2nd.
Damn. Josh Summerall really struggling.
Yeah.
What's going on in these meetings, man? Because we talked to Hummer yesterday. He turned off DJ Lagway. Now you got Jaden Ball here. It seems like he's entering the portal, which to Summerall's defense, I feel like he was more at a disadvantage coming in than he was for an advantage. Like everyone wants to be seen and liked and fought over. Go see what the market's like. And DJ Lagway and Jaden Ball, they both got mad leverage. So I'm not knocking that. But just to hear from Hummer that Summerall and that meeting with DJ Lagway went completely left, and now you're hearing about Jaden Ball, I feel like the Gator fans, even though they wanted this, they're not liking this start.
Yeah. Jaden Baugh, this is a guy who was an athlete coming out of Decatur, Georgia. It's like the 381st ranked prospect in 2024. And I had a source tell me Jaden Baugh is what everyone thought CJ Baxter was going to develop into.
Damn, man. That's cold. That's the same class, though. Yeah.
Well,
no.
CJ was 23.
Okay, that's right.
Baugh was 24.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jaden Baugh is developing. He rolled in as a 216-pound freshman. Now he's a 231-pound wrecking ball with some wheels and some hands.
Yeah.
Look, everybody is going to be in on this one. So this is going to be good for Jaden Baugh. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Good for Jaden Baugh. And we'll see. Texas will not be alone in this.
See, that's why guys have to take less money. That's why some of these guys, you got to spread it out the best you can, but some guys are going to make more than others because they're worth more than others. Like these agents, I wish these agents were real with the kids, but they greedy too, because they know the more that these kids make, the more they make. So how real are they being with some of these guys? Like Jaden Ball, yeah, the dude produced. He should be a hot commodity out here in these streets. Like what? And he's from Decatur.
His last game, he ran for 266 yards. That's like, what was it, top 5 all time? He ran for 5 touchdowns as a freshman in one game, tying Tim Tebow's record. Like, this dude's got some he's got some upside.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Decatur, he's seen some stuff growing up too.
Yeah.
Like, as Decatur, we talking about that outskirt of Atlanta. Like, it's rough out there. So he runs like he's from Decatur. And that's what you want in your back.
Runs
and he's
angry.
a lot more shifty. Yeah, for his size, he's a lot shiftier than you would think. Like, he's going to be a good back for a long time. Next level too. Whatever decision he makes. Hey, again, Jabbar Jalute, you got the upper hand, bruh. Like, you've known him for a long time.
You recruited him.
You recruited him. Like,
you recruited him. You gave him his start. Let's see how good that relationship is. Let's see how deep it is. Let's see if you got that Tashard Choice connection.
Yeah.
See if you got that.
Yeah, like, and everybody can eat. Like, I know Contravian Wise is probably thinking, like, damn, they get Jaden Ball, my carries. Nah, man, the more the merrier.
Yeah, I mean, look at when Bijan and Rojo were working together.
Yeah.
Like, everybody eats. The good news is, if Texas could land Jaden Ball, that's the kind of dude that you don't ignore the running game. Like, you don't abandon the running game. You stay with it. And it's going to force them to go get whatever interior offensive lineman that they need to make sure that there's a running game.
Yeah.
Because you don't go get a Ferrari and then put some pickup trucks in front of it. You know, you put some earth movers in front of it so that it can have a nice new freeway to run on.
Yeah.
So, and
that's your concern if you're Jaden Ball. Like, you saw that line. Like, he should be doing his research.
What's the plan?
Yeah. And DJ Campbell's leaving. He was like the only bright part on the interior. Again, Cole Hudson had his moments. Connor Robinson had his moments. But, man, that first part of the season, Kyle Flood, he be waking up in a deep, cold sweat thinking about how bad that first month was. Good grief. So,
come on, Kyle Flood.
Oh, Kyle Flood, man. It's a down bad time for Kyle Flood. We got to redeem ourselves for real. Like, it was rough. Like, you got to go find some soldiers, some real football guys that get it. If the guys that are next up don't get it, I mean, that sucks because that means when it came to the evaluation process, y'all crap the bed on that. But still, I want to trust you guys. Like, y'all did a good job these last few years. So it shouldn't come just crashing down where we see this consistently. That can't happen. And we know how tight Sark and Kyle Flood are, but hey, this ain't the business to have friends, man.
I just keep coming back to, would Sark really change out his running back coach, receiver coach, and offensive line coach in one offseason? I could see him giving Kyle Flood a mulligan. And I'm not sure that, listen, only Sarkeesian knows what those conversations were at the beginning of the year. We good? We good on the offensive line? We got guys who can replace, Hayden Connor and Jake Majors, and we good? Yep. Okay. Here we go. And then record scratch. So only Sarkeesian knows what those conversations were, and they gotta get that figured out. Someone needs to get straightened out. I said that performance review needed to be harsh. Needed to be, hey, we all have a bad year, and we still went 9-3, but we sure as heck could have beaten Florida if we had our offensive line figured out. So it's, it's one of those things. You got to get everything lined up. I mean, they knew what they needed to do on the defensive line. They went in the portal and they got it fixed. And they've been good in the portal. They've had a good hit rate. Very, very successful in terms of their evaluation and signing of portal guys. Some of those guys have been signed in April. That window no longer exists. So Brandon Harris and his player personnel department have had to be all over it in terms of knowing what's out there, and so that when January 2nd hits, because this is like NFL free agency. January 2nd isn't when you can start looking at guys in the portal. That's pretty much when you can sign them. All the talk and everything is already happening. This is guys are making plans. I thought Eli Drinkwitz had a really good quote the other day. We should probably find it. He talked about how college football is sick and how, they got to get, they're calling out to Congress for help, for, federal guidelines to help reel in the NIL and the spending so that they can have a little antitrust protection. I don't know how that is going to work without collective bargaining and without student athletes becoming employees or union members, but they're going to need Congress's help, because I don't think anyone, we have 23 different state laws governing NIL. And I know the House settlement, everyone's like, okay, here's rev share and NIL go and fair market deal. But it's still, you can tell. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz, like, tampering. We don't have tampering because no one's ever been popped for tampering. So I keep hearing from my own players, hey, this school's offering me this. This school's offering me that. And then Eli Drinkwitz gets on the phone and calls those coaches like, hey, what are we doing? And then
I got the video. It's a little long, though.
Yeah, it's a little long. And we'll have Lance tomorrow. We'll have Drew Fabianich, executive director of the Senior Bowl, at 3. We'll have Lance Taylor tomorrow at 2:30. Of course, John McClain tomorrow, talking some football. But
you want to play it?
Yeah, I think I think it sheds light, because it's rare when the coaches actually kind of cut open a vein. And this is Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz about college football.
I'm curious, how much do you get in contact with your peers about their perception of what's going on there, and is it coach talk, or do you just stay in your silo on it?
No, there's a lot of coaches discussing it and frustrated, in my opinion. And I understand the national sentiment because of the salary ranges of head coaches, that it feels like we're complaining, but we're really not. We're trying to sound warning bells, and that's that's what I believe we're all trying to do, is that there's a warning that the system that we're in is really sick right now, and college football is sick, and not in a. It's just there's showing signs of this thing really cracking moving forward. And we need to get something under control, and The SCORE Act was something that it looked like it was going to be a step in a direction. There is no perfect solution, but we have to get some sort of steps moving in that direction. I think we're all weighted with, is it bated breath, the saying, trying to wait on what's going to happen with this fifth-year lawsuit in Nashville, where you could have a flurry of fifth-year guys now being eligible, and that would just throw a completely new wrinkle in the system. Tampering is at, the highest levels. There is no such thing as tampering. It's just because there's nobody that's been punished for tampering. And so everybody on my roster is being called. I had a dad call me and say that, and I called the head coaches at their schools, that this school and this school and this school called, and they are offering this much money. And, it's you're putting a lot of pressure on young men. We're paying them as 1099 employees a lot of money. We're not offering any type of retirement. We're not offering any type of health benefits. And we've worked around the system and then tried to create that as the system, instead of creating a functioning way of moving forward and making sure that it works for everybody. And whether that's collective bargaining, whether that's making them employees, whether that's antitrust legislation that protects everybody, the commissioner or the SEC or the NCAA from lawsuits, something needs to be done. Because, again, TV viewership may be at an all-time high, and that's awesome. And gambling on sports may be at an all-time high, and that's great. I got no problem with that. But what about the well-being of the student athlete? What about graduation rates? What about tax implications? What about handling and understanding financial literacy? What is their life going to look like after 5 years of college athletics? Is it going to be better because they participated in college athletics, or could they be in a tougher situation? And, that a lot of us got into college athletics because we wanted to help young men grow and develop. And I think we're still doing that mission, but it's getting really hard because you used to talk about, Coach Saban used to talk about all the time creating value for yourself. And when he talked about it, he wasn't just talking about value for the NFL. He was talking about creating value for yourself with a college degree. And we've lost that aspect of it. And these guys are going to create tremendous value for themselves playing the game of football, and that's awesome. And I love that these guys are getting paid. I love that last week these guys with their own money went out and bought gifts for Coyote Hill. I love that. That's awesome. But my job also is to look at them in 3 or 4 years down the road, and how many of them are in a better position because they've played football if they've transferred 4 times. And that's just the system that we've created. Not all freedom is good freedom.
Well,
I was a little distracted during that speech. I'm not going to lie, because we just got some big time breaking news. So.
Yeah, we sure do. I might need to get BK in here. Will Muschamp back as defensive coordinator. Puka Nacua out. Let me go ahead and talk, Zay.
Yeah, for sure. Big news. We were just talking about just kind of the lapse sometimes that Puka Nacua has had. And, you think about the Ohio State play, Travion Henderson, just what thought process going into that. You think about this season and just sometimes the secondary just playing really conservative football, and that play against Vanderbilt sticks out where it was like 4th and something like long or 3rd and something long, and somehow they get that just because you were playing a conservative brand of football. And I didn't think it would be that's it. This is, he's done way more good than bad. It's just been lapses in big times. And you go back to the Florida game, you don't have Manny Muhammad. you don't really know the scouting report on freshman Dallas Wilson because he hasn't played yet. You just assume that, okay, this is a freshman, even though he was highly touted coming in. How much can he beat us? But Jaden Ball ran all over you in that game, and then Dallas Wilson were killing your corners. And there were different lapses from Jalen Gilbo to Michael Taft, secondary just not communicating. And we talk about last year when you have Andrew Makuba and John A. Barron, but also last year you had Terrence Joseph and Blake Gideon. Terrence Joseph goes off to New Orleans Saints. Blake Gideon goes off to Georgia Tech to be the defensive coordinator there. So you bring in Dwayne Aquina, who's also a part of this. Dwayne Aquina will not be a part of anything Texas football related moving forward. So not only is it Pete Kwiatkowski, it's longtime DBU legendary coach Dwayne Aquina, who came back for 1 year, and it just didn't work out with him too. But there's a lot that obviously went into this decision, and even though it's kind of a head scratcher, also you can tell this coaching staff, Steve Sarkeesian, has had to make some very difficult decisions, and that means getting rid of somebody that's very close to him. So, yeah, super shocking, super shocking. Come on now, nobody was slogging PK before this. Now it was quick. Think of some shit to say about Pete. No, everything I said has been said on these airwaves before. Like, I am talking about why this might have happened. And those things that I just said, those examples of what happened, are the things that jump out to me. Overall, I thought the dude did a good job. I think he's still one of the best coordinators in all of college football. But you can't dismiss the fact that there were some big-time moments in the last few years where there were just times where there were duds out there that were confusing. And that's all I tried to point out. So, hey, overall, very good, but clearly not good enough. Because if it was, he'd still be here.
Yeah, this is Steve Sarkeesian, getting more aggressive. So, it's, I guess, Steve Sarkeesian sees eye to eye with what we've seen, and look, Pete Kwiatkowski's done a big time job. Very interesting.
Yeah. Now the Muschamp thing, what does that mean? Because if it's his gig now, if he's, what's that mean for everybody around him? I guess Lavin Clark stays, Kenny Baker. You would want to keep those guys. They've done a good job since they've been here. What does it mean for Johnny Nansen? You know what I'm saying? Mark Orfe, Kenote Hudson, the Nichols coach. Like, that's where the domino effect going to happen there. And Muschamp's been with Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann these last few years. Those guys, when it comes to defensive football, they've been running the show. So can he bring his already knowledge that he has, once upon a time being at Texas with Mac Brown? A lot of folks know Muschamp. But, yeah, has he gotten better since then? I don't know. So yeah, that's this is one of the shockers, because this is really out the blue. Like, now, recruiting wise, you think about that, like Tyler Atkinson and the rest of that recruiting class because they were expecting to play for Puka Nacua. And again, Sark hasn't gotten rid of his coordinators since he's been at Texas. It's always been, Jeff Banks, Cal Flood, Puka Nacua. That's the thing that they've kind of wrote their hat on when it comes to recruiting. Oh, our recruiters have always stayed, or our coordinators always stay the same. Nobody in Power 4 could say that about us the last 5 years. And now that's not the case. So, what went wrong? But all right, Chip, I know you got to go, man. More 24/7 calls.
I'll be back. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Let's bring in Patrick Davis of Open Gym coming in pitch hitting unexpectedly because the news of the day around Texas football is out with Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquina, in with Will Muschamp. Patrick, first off, how you doing, dog?
Oh man, I was wondering what we're going to talk about today for a minute there. Starting to do some show prep, and then it's like, well, that kind of changes what we're going to talk about, doesn't it, Zay?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I don't think Chip did either.
No, I was watching y'all. Y'all were literally talking about, I don't think we're going to get rid of Kyle Flood. Straight into well, he's not going to get rid of his guys. We know the main guys that he has. He's probably not going to get rid of them. And then throw that into, oh, yes, he is. And now we just wonder, how long was this brewing? How long was there dissension, or was there discussions? I mean, long enough that they clearly went out, did look for a new person, talked to, I don't know, we don't know how many, get Muschamp. That's why we let Chip go off to find out the other information for us.
Yeah. No, again, it's very surprising. You would think that the issues could be solved in-house. You know what I'm saying? Because there are times where you see Pete Kwiatkowski's defenses and you're like, why are they playing so conservative? It's 3rd and 15. Why are the cornerbacks 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, allowing all that space for a receiver to catch it and make something happen yards after catch? And just different things like that.
I mean, you look at that Vanderbilt game in specific, and you may wonder how many people at Texas, and whether boosters or donors, felt if Texas didn't let the comeback happen, how much better they had a chance to make the playoffs. If they beat Vanderbilt by 30.
Right.
If they just clobber Vanderbilt and don't allow that whole comeback and the stuff at the end to go, well, now you don't even have that decisive victory. Those little pieces like that, you wonder how much of that has been playing into this. Because, people asking, how shocking is this? I mean, we all talk to a lot of people, keep our nose on the grindstone and do things like that. But, this was not. I think the Kyle Flood question was the one you hear a little bit more people talking all right, is there any real animosity towards Kyle Flood? The Aquina thing's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising.
I thought maybe they'd be maybe it would be the more kind way of doing it, where you go to Aquina and go, well, we're going to keep your salary the same, but we're going to ask you to move to an analyst. All right, we're going to keep you on staff and all of that good stuff, but it just didn't work out. So if you want to leave, you can, but we're not going to take any money away. Not the case.
Yeah.
Not the case. Big shakeup.
Yeah. I know from sources behind the scenes. Now I can say that. Now I can say this since Dwayne Aquina's gone. Dwayne Aquina couldn't coach like he used to. And it's due to the era that we're in, the era of the student athlete and NIL and everything that comes with that. Kids are just a lot softer than they used to be back during those DBU days where Dwayne Aquina could spit in guys' faces and cuss them smooth the hell out. You can't do that no more. Yeah. And I felt like he was holding back a lot with these guys, which is a shame, but also you have to adjust. If you want to coach in this era of college football, you're going to have to adapt to these kids. It's different. The game is different. How they're being raised is different. This back in the day, you should just tell a kid and they do it. Now they're wondering why they're doing it. So I heard a lot behind the scenes with Dwayne Akina not being able to really coach the way that he wants to because he just wasn't allowed or accepted. And it didn't relate to the players. There was a disconnect. And you saw that on the field with that secondary. You know what I'm saying? And how much is Pete Kwiatkowski a part of that? I don't know. But, I saw somebody talking about from a schematic standpoint, who was that? Somebody said Zay, Dwayne Akina. There we go. Appreciate your naming. Zay, we have recruited 4 and 5-star cornerbacks, and they play man coverage, and PK runs a freaking zone. No, that's true. That's true. Like Pete Kwiatkowski, he's known for his zone coverage. Certain guys, especially at that size, the size that they like to recruit, Patrick. Like they like those long, over 6 foot guys that should be able to thrive in man-to-man. But if they're not getting opportunities to play that because that's just not Pete Kwiatkowski's style, then you're not playing to your personnel. And which Sark knows. Like, Sark, you know what Pete Kwiatkowski brings to the table. So are y'all recruiting the right guy? I don't know that. I like to say yes. Like, I look at K. Phillips and Kobe Black, and ideally, when it comes to measurements, hell yeah, sign me up. But are they being developed the right way? And with Kobe Black, it's taken them a long time. Like the A&M game was the first game where you're like, finally. But that's game 12. So we're trying to figure out why this is a thing here, and we're throwing out all these possibilities and stuff, which all could be true.
I think we can look at just simple things like look at how many opt-outs are on the defense in this bowl game, which can throw you in 2 directions. One, where you just go, man, these people don't want to there may be underlying issues here of guys maybe not feeling they're being used to their potential. We see a bunch of people saying in the chat of they just play not aggressive enough. So like an Anthony Hill, why do I want to play? If you're not going to let it be fun, like I get you want to play Ben, but that ain't fun for any of us.
Right.
That's not what we want to go in and play. And if you're going in the portal to try and get these great players now, because now you've got your recruiting class and those guys want to come in to be developed. They want to be pushed. And you brought in a guy, Will Muschamp, who we know has developed players in the past and has done this at a very high level in the past. So you don't feel you're losing too much in development and putting guys in the NFL. He's done that. But I think you're looking at, are you going to find guys who feel like they're coming into something that they want to play? When you start looking, because I'll tell you, I feel like this probably has a little bit to do with the portal as well, because as you were just playing, everyone's tampering. So you're already talking to people. You've already got feelers out, and you may have already heard some word back from agencies or wherever else. You're not a top destination for defense. Unless my guy's getting paid a bunch of money and guaranteed starter, he ain't got y'all don't blitz enough. Y'all don't, you play zones, so it's just a lot harder to get big big plays and big interceptions. Like your offense is great for putting people in the NFL, but defensively this year, you didn't look like an NFL draft machine defensively.
Yeah, it is a conservative brand of defense, to say the least, compared to others out there. And seems like Steve Sarkeesian's tired of it. And to bring in Will Mashup, it's not a bad look at all. Like, the dude been through the ringer, and sometimes guys are just better coordinators than they are coaches. And I think Muschamp being down there in Athens, you're soaking up a lot of the game, man. Like, I love the guys that aren't too big to take a lower gig if they're soaking up game and still learning. Like, you got to keep learning. Even Nick Saban was continuing to learn and bring in guys who are now very successful coaching their own programs and just picking different things. And when they leave, cool. Now you're going off to get a head coaching job. But when you were here, you helped me a lot. And now I'm even smarter than I was before you got here. Will Muschamp, he's been paying his dues, and now he wants to be a coordinator again, straight up coordinator where he's calling the shots. Good move. It's a good move. It's a good move.
Look, I have to assume there was more happening behind the scenes that we didn't see.
Right.
For this to be done the way it was. I know, like, because you say a year ago we had one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best defense in the country. And this year, for the first half of the season, we had a really great defense, but it did fall off there at the end. Too much zone at the end. The secondary for sure became a liability because, as you just said, we couldn't play man. And when you can't play man, good teams will beat you over and over and over again. Like, you just realize that. And you also look at it and like, and Gilbert, I'm not saying this is the best move in the world. I think that you could also look at this saying Will Muschamp is more SEC ready than they felt PK was for the style of what he wanted to do. That in the SEC, we feel Will Muschamp will have a better idea of what he's doing. But again, it just feels like behind closed doors. And by the way, round of applause for UT for keeping this under wraps. But you know why I'll say that is because there's a lot of stuff they have to do to win that you better keep secret. and so the fact that you could hire Will Muschamp without it breaking that any of this was happening it's impressive. It's good because we've had leaky ships before. We've had people trying to get their names in the press and stuff. Yeah. So out of that, I'll say that's good. It is curious to see now before the portal, how much more this defense really changes up. Before we get to the portal, how many more names might pop in now, where we end up. If you hear anything different from a Leon Lefau, I mean, that's probably one of your big pieces that Lefau said one of the big reasons he wanted to leave was the scheme fit.
Yeah. And
so is this something that now Lefau reconsiders, or is that ship already sailed? Because, Sark has been pretty adamant in the past. Once that ship goes, once you say you're going to the portal, y'all have a nice life.
Right. Yeah, good point. And Steve Sarkeesian, it's not like him and Pete Kwiatkowski. He's just another coach. These guys go back, man. Like, these guys, they got a really good friendship that's beyond coaching. So to make a move like this, man, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But appreciate Patrick Davis for jumping in for my man Chet Brown. But I see my guy in the waiting room, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Let's bring him on now. Drew Fabianich. Drew, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Man.
How are you?
Yes, Patrick Davis, man. Patrick, Drew.
Did they warn you at all?
Did they warn me?
Yes.
No, I literally got a text about 20 minutes. I do the show after this, so okay. I'm used to being ready on a 4 p.m. But no, this is a Chip has to chase a lead, so you
gotcha.
Call in the reliever real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say who's coming out, or who's the rumor that they're leaving into the portal and extorting money from UT. Gotta be that.
Oh no, the big news of the day is that Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquina are both fired from the University of Texas, and they've hired Will Muschamp to be the new DC. That is a big story, so I understand why Chip had to take off.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Drew, your thoughts, Will Muschamp, your thoughts on
I'm going to go back.
Go back. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I got thoughts on Chad Scott, okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it.
Chad Scott is one hell of a ball coach and a very, very good recruiter. And I don't think he had a damn thing to do with how shitty they ran the football. Not one damn thing. And I promise you, there's that tie with that running back in Florida becoming to UT. Now, when do you start firing coaches to get players? That's a little messed up.
Yeah.
That's a little messed up. So
no, I'm with you.
Whatever. Will Muschamp's a very, very good defensive coach, very good defensive coordinator. But Pete's been a great defensive coordinator for a long time. Dwayne Aquina is one hell of a secondary coach. I mean, there's a time where Texas was DBU. I mean, where he just kept rolling dudes out of there like 2 or 3 first rounders about every 2 years. So don't understand that one, but hey, I got told a long time ago when I was coaching, when it's your damn team, you can do it your damn way, you know? So,
yeah.
I mean, that's up to him, however he wants to do that. But again, some of it I don't quite grasp, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Drew, because I get it. You don't make the college football playoff, but a lot of teams wish they were 9-3 in the SEC. And then, you know, you beat A&M, you beat Oklahoma, who has a chance to play for a title. And this move, like, that's why Chip's not here, because he didn't see it coming. He had to go, as Patrick said, follow the lead. But just to make these moves abruptly like this, like what has gone down behind the scenes for somebody that's been in those coaching positions for a move to happen like this?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't. If it was something that tied into it, that, you know, I mean, did they play that bad on defense? Did they? I mean, was the running back room really part of it? Maybe, but the offensive line wasn't very good. I mean, so again, you know, the problem in Alabama is they don't have 3 flipping backs like they used to. Every time I went to Alabama, it was like, who's up next? Right? Here comes another first rounder. Well, they don't have that. And Van Miller's been hurt. He was hurt the year before. I mean, they're not running the ball very well. You know, is it the back? Probably, but a little bit of the offensive line. So, I mean, again, sometimes there's other things that we don't know that go on, and maybe somebody thinks they know a little bit more than some people do, and you know, it's a knee-jerk reaction. But I can tell you, Chad Scott is one hell of a ball coach. I was with him, and he's actually good enough to be a coordinator, you know. And there's not a lot of running back coaches that I could say that about, to be quite honest with you. He will have a job, and he will have a job in a very short period of time. He will, and he's good, and he's a good recruiter too. Yeah. So, I mean, got Jaheim White at West Virginia, and you know, West Virginia isn't exactly the easiest place to recruit to. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it does. It's one of those things that's it's always weird covering teams where people kind of get blinded to major schools and then not looking at like Chad Scott is still an extremely good running backs coach. That's how he got the gig at Texas, was how good he was and how well recommended he was. And then for whatever happens behind the scenes of it not meshing properly, that leads to an ouster, you know, that one felt, I think that one too, my theory on that is that they really had their eyes set on somebody else at a point, and they were really behind the 8 ball. Tashard Choice left late last year. So when they brought in Chad Scott, it may have never been their number one choice. We've seen that now at several schools where they hire a guy that they really like, but he's number 3. And so when number 2 comes available, all of a sudden they go and make that move. It just kind of felt like he got bumped solely because they felt there may have been 1 or 2 guys ahead of him in line. And that's
or players included.
And players included. And, you know, it's unfortunate when you see that. But again, he's one of those guys that you have no doubt will end up going further and doing fine for himself. Because, yeah, he was the interim OC, right, at West Virginia after Neil Brown was gone.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we always used to say with recruits, I mean, you go like, you know, hey, we signed the brother, you know. Well, yeah, brother's not any good. You know, that's the package deal, you know. I mean, so I'm just saying, and I'm put it this way: I'm supporting a guy that I've been with, and that I know real well. Yeah. And so I wanted to voice that, and you know, and again, if you want to make changes with defense, I mean, you know, defense wasn't always a problem there. So, just saying.
Yeah. Well said.
How many guys got fired on offense other than Chad?
That's the only one right now. Chris Jackson, the wide receivers coach, contract is up very soon, so we'll see about him. But yeah,
normally they're. I mean, well, I'm not. Who knows nowadays? I was going to say normally they don't wait till the end of the contract. Normally they'll give you that time to go find a job, because most of those contracts are June to Junes, most of them. So, I mean, it's just it's not right to keep a guy through like, the hiring period if you're going to fire him. It's just not. But who knows these days? I mean,
Yeah.
this is a very weird and strange time in college football.
Yeah. Well, Drew, you definitely should be proud because I see guys clocking in to the Panini Senior Bowl left and right, and it's big name after big name. Again, congratulations. I know it feels good to see everything finally coming together. Talk about the latest group of guys that have committed to playing the game.
Gosh, it's hard because it's been about probably 25 to 30 in the last day and a half. The biggest one for me is David Bailey, but I can tell you the shortest invite and quickest yes was TJ Parker. He was like, you don't even have to finish. He's like, I'm in, and guys that understand, how valuable this is to their draft stock and to prove that they're different and maybe move them 7 or 8 slots, maybe even 20. I mean, those are the ones that are smart. It's the agents that go, yeah, I've been getting first round grades. Yeah, you've been getting some damn area scout you've been talking to who has no idea what the hell the rest of the country is. I mean, and again, I can bitch and complain about them, but I got to deal with them. But there are some that are just half retarded. Excuse my not being PC, but it's true, and it's like, I'm going, guess what? I mean, whoever you're talking to, I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And we used to always say it this way. It was like when I was an area scout, I would go like, hey, I think this guy's a first rounder. Well, and I'd bring him back, and after the board was set, he was like a third rounder because there was 10 guys that were better than him because I didn't see the country. But then when I saw the country and when I set the vertical board, just like I do here, right, I know where the guys are going to fall. I know where they're placed. And I had a friend of mine that I've known 30 years, and he's a high profile agent. And he says, well, we think he's the one. I said, well, then you're damn stupid. I said, because he is not. I said, he might get in the back end of the first if he comes down here and performs against the best in the country. But if he doesn't, I bet you he is in the first. And I said, I would love to bet you a fine timepiece on it. That's how confident I am about where I think guys, I mean, because I can see the whole board. I can see the whole country. I can see all the numbers. And, for guys to take the word of a guy that sees 30 schools and, like, oh, we think he's a first. Well, okay. Well, you're going to lose money on that one because, the difference, I think I told you this, from the top of the third to the bottom of the top of the third to the 32 picks to the bottom of the first, right, is $11.9 million in a 4-year contract. That's the difference. Okay. Well, unless you're the first pick, okay, unless you're the first pick, I think you play in this game. I really do. I mean, do you think that Abdul Carter was a 10th pick last year? He's a 10th pick, right?
Yeah.
He came down here, you think he might have been the 5th pick?
Possibly.
Maybe, right? Maybe. Because, I mean, some of these dudes, and I told you this, and you laugh like hell, and I have to change it just a little bit, right? Most of these dudes are playing against guys that are going to be working at damn FedEx next week. Right? These guys are playing against real dudes. I mean, just the offensive line alone. I mean, we got, 10 guys already committed. We're gonna have over, like, I think it's 18. I think we're going with, if I remember right. I can't remember what the number is. Yeah, it's like 13, 14 inside guys and 13 tackles. Okay, we're already 10 and 10 already, and they're high draft choices. So why wouldn't you come here? I mean, gosh, I'm trying to remember all the dudes. The two juicy nose tackles I got. Okay, is and I think the nickname, Big Citrus, Dominic Orange from Iowa State, right?
Yeah,
and Chris McClellan, right? I mean, I'll say this in the nicest way. They got a little sexy fat man to them. Okay. and they got a little bit of pass rush to them, which most big nose tackles are really just, we call them plug rushers or just push the pocket guys. These guys got a little bit of sexy to them, and they won't be on the same damn team. I can promise you that, because both of them about 340 and about 360.
Man.
So I'm putting two nose tackles separate from each other. I'm not putting them on the same damn team, because they'll be eating two every day. You know what I mean by that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like Naman. Naman says in the chat, yeah, Sweat went to the Senior Bowl, and I remember him going to the Senior Bowl, and it changed the perspective. And unfortunately, some off the field stuff maybe hurt his draft stock a little bit, but we remember the push he got from that of, oh, this guy's legit scary, and you're seeing him do it. Where you're right, sometimes we don't see it, and that's my question is, we're looking now. We have two group of 5 teams in the playoffs. We have, maybe some teams that people haven't seen as much, because a lot of people, I watch more SEC than I watch of anything else, because that's what we cover. Like, out of who you're looking at, who you've got on your board, who are some of the players that we're going to see the next couple of days here in the playoffs that you look at and go, maybe people don't realize that this dude is a dude?
Gosh, I mean, that's kind of hard, just because, I mean, I think a lot of those guys in the playoff games, I mean, in Tulane has some really good players, but they don't have anybody worthy of my game this year.
Okay.
James Madison has really good players, but just not worthy of the game here. And here's the thing: there was probably only 20 to 23 to 24, guys that we evaluated outside of P4.
Yeah.
So because those schools are already doing our job for them and for the NFL, they're poaching those guys and bringing them up.
That's true.
Like Elijah Surratt. I mean, like from St. Francis to flipping James Madison to Indiana, right? I mean, the Jamari Taylor kid that we invited from Virginia, he was at North Carolina Central last year. I mean, see, those guys would have maybe been at James Madison before and maybe been at, North Carolina Central, but they're not anymore. They're already pulled up. So it makes the job, easier for the NFL and for us. It really does. The impactful guys, I mean, gosh, Miami alone, I mean, on defense, I mean, Ruben Bain, Messidor, Moten, Keontae Scott, Jacoby Thomas, A&M, Cassius Howell, I mean, 3 of their offensive linemen. I mean, one of them's already accepted. I mean, we got invites for 3 of them. The 2 receivers are big timers. One can't come out, one can. Le'Veon Moss, I mean, took the invite. By the time January 31st rolls around, he'll probably be pretty damn healthy. Oklahoma, R. Thomas, R. Thomas is a really good edge rusher. We got a commitment from Grayson, the inside tackle, defensive tackle there. We've got 3 invites. Well, they just got their invites yesterday in Oklahoma. So we put 5 out there. Alabama, everybody's accepted but one dude at Alabama. And I'm waiting on him. Okay. And you know who that is?
Who's that?
Proctor. Okay.
That would have been my guess, but I didn't want to call him out without knowing.
Waiting on one dude. Now, if he thinks he's a top 10 pick, he needs to bring his ass over here and prove it, because his tape ain't first top 10 pick. It's not.
No,
it's not.
No, he's gotten a lot of awards this year that maybe were a bit questionable for what his play on the field was versus what, years past have been. Yeah. So I'm with you. I think if he goes there and shows that he's still that guy, then it changes a lot of people and go, oh yeah, we know what he is.
Well, here's what happens, and you've been here. We're talking about how it actually builds the stock and everything else if they play well. There's also been a lot of dudes came down here and got exposed because they weren't good enough to play against this level of player, and they may have been really, really productive, where they were, but some of them have been exposed, and you kind of go, oof. Yeah, I really didn't believe he could run. And guess what? He showed me he couldn't, So it's kind of goes both ways. So I think some guys kind of think of this as, it's a great opportunity, but I think some of them are a little bit afraid of it because this is the 140 best dudes in the country, bottom line. And it ain't, and excuse my grammar, it ain't even close, okay, to the other one. Not even close. I mean, everybody knows it, So I always say premier game, always has been, always will be. You know?
Yeah.
Sold
Those
out.
guys who are afraid of it, I don't want them on my team no damn way. So, hey, y'all stay at home.
Yeah.
We're speaking with Drew Fabianich, Executive Director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Drew, the games this weekend, college football playoffs, which games are you most looking forward to? Obviously, you got tomorrow night, Bama and Oklahoma, and then the game at noon the next day with A&M and Miami. I'm guessing only those two games?
Only two games. You know, I'll watch the other ones, but I'm going to tell you what now. I mean, God bless James Madison. Whew. That could get really ugly now. I mean, that could get really ugly, you know. And you know, Tulane, it's hard to beat a team twice in the NFL. It's a little bit easier to beat a team twice, you know, when you're overmatched. And you know, and again, Ole Miss should win it because they're more talented. Bottom line, but Tulane's a really good football team, and John did a great job coaching them. I mean, but you know, sometimes you're just overmatched, and guess what? You know, my dad used to say, "Oh yeah, coaching takes over," and I was like, "No." I was like, talent takes over at the end of games. I was like, you can coach your ass off and it doesn't matter. Talent eventually takes over. So if I got asked this on, you know, another show, and it said, which one do you go to? I said, I'm going to A&M because I think that's going to be the best one of all. I mean, that's going to be a battle up front. I mean, that's strength on strength. That group is, you know, and that game is. So
yeah, I don't know why they put that game at 11 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I guess maybe they wanted ratings throughout the day, but I mean, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that one. But maybe they wanted to get a little bit more attention on, maybe they thought the lower viewership maybe later, just maybe.
That'd be my guess.
And,
well, speaking of go ahead.
And I don't know about, I mean, I'll tell you what, I think Alabama, you know, might pull that one off, you know, because, you know, the bag of tricks isn't going to be so big now with Venables. You know what I mean? I mean, right. But he's going to have probably three or four more exotics, you know, that they haven't seen. But it's not like they're not going to be prepared for all the other things that he throws at you. So I'm kind of thinking Alabama, but you know, God, I wish they ran the ball better.
Yeah, I saw the stat yesterday that was Alabama hasn't lost to the same opponent twice in the same season since 1893.
Yeah.
So it would be historic if they did it. If they lost twice.
And Oklahoma's talented. They are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, but again, it was one play made the difference in that game last year. I mean, the previous game. One play. That was it. So, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Zay.
No, you're good. You're good. As far as the Miami A&M game goes, because all I've heard on why people are picking A&M over Miami, well, obviously there's the home field advantage, but the coaching matchup, you know, a lot of people have Mike Elko here and Mario Cristobal down here, and I don't think it's that big. I mean, coaches have messed up before. I think Mario Cristobal, especially when it comes to ball control at the end of the game, has struggled at times, but I think Miami could go in there and, for some folks, shock the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that. I mean, and again, I know everybody's raving about Elko, you know, as a defensive coach and head coach, and he's done a really, really good job. But Mario's done a good job down there too now. And you got to realize there was a time, I'm going to say the last decade before him, Miami wasn't very good. I mean, the whole persona went away for a while, you know, and some dudes got fired down there pretty quickly, right? I mean, and they weren't the Miami Hurricanes of old. Now they're the Miami Hurricanes of old, and they can run the ball, they can throw it, and they play really good defense. And you know, again, if you can play really good defense and you can run the ball, you got a chance. I mean, it's complementary football. I mean, play field position. Parcells always used to say this. You know, you play field position football, right? You control the clock, right, and have a chance to win the game with 4 minutes to go. That's all you want, right? It's all you want. So, I mean, it's true. It happens. Play field position football, right? Control the clock, right? Control the time of possession. And then you got a chance to win it, 4 minutes left, if you can do that. So, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. And they can do that, but A&M can too. But A&M also got beat at Texas. So, can't tell me that's not in their mind too.
Right.
Can't tell me that. Can't tell me that.
Yeah. They've got the blueprint to try and slow down Marcel Reed right now because he did not look like the guy he looked like earlier in the season. It is weird when we look back at that Ole Miss Tulane game as well. The coaching in that game is going to be a bit off the wall. Lane Kiffin no longer there. And then for John Summerall, he's between two jobs right now and losing most of his good players, right? Or a lot of his good players, not most, but a lot of his good players right now to the portal. So we keep getting reports of more and more guys jumping in. So we know that's weird, but as somebody who gets to work with these guys and see them when they come to the Senior Bowl, have you had examples of guys coming in where you're shocked at the lack of coaching that they may have received, whether it's a guy who's transferred and only spent a year in a program or just an athletic freak where you're like, how are you not better than you are?
You know, I mean, there's always a lot of whys, and you know, you got to figure out the whys, you know, to do that. And I don't know if it is the transfer piece of it. You know, I got asked if, you know, if scouts would in the league would actually like fault a quarterback for transferring 4 times. I was like, not anymore. I mean, because it's about one damn thing, and that's it. It's about the money. I mean, and the biggest problem, it's normally not the kid. Normally it's the parents. Yeah. And they always say, oh, well, no, it's not about the money. As soon as they said that to me, I went, yep, it's about the money. Here we go. You know, and who's going to be the highest bidder? Here we go. I mean, so again, I don't think, put it this way, the biggest problem in college football is not preparing a quarterback for the NFL, because 95% of the teams don't manage a game with the quarterback the way the NFL does. You'd be surprised how many quarterbacks cannot even ID a mic and change a protection or even know where their hots are when there's 4 strong or 4 weak. They have no clue. Okay. And then all of a sudden you walk into a West Coast offense, which has 3 sentences for a damn play, and they're getting 2 signals in from the sideline and they're running the play. I mean, they don't prepare the quarterback for what they're getting into. Greatest clip I saw was Chris Sims trying to verbalize John Gruden's offensive plays. Oh my God. And Chris Sims is a smart dude.
I remember that.
He's a smart dude. And he couldn't get it right. Couldn't. And because they want such a huge play sheet that in the NFL, you can't practice 400 plays. You can't. But there's 400 plays on a John Gruden play sheet, right? Well, he's telling every damn son of a bitch what to do on that damn call, because they can't practice those enough to actually, rep them all. Can't. There's no time, because your practice is about an hour and 45 minutes in the NFL every day. That's it. So how are you going to rep 400 snaps? Can't. So that's the biggest issue of, it's not coaching, it's systematic, because whatever system they're in doesn't prepare them for it. I mean, Jimbo Fisher asked me, he says, how many quarterbacks do you think can run the line of scrimmage? That's what we used to call it, can run the line of scrimmage, right? I said maybe 3 out of the 12 guys that I got on my list. Maybe 3. I know it's 2, but it's maybe 3. Now, those other guys, they go into the NFL. Whew, want to talk about a learning curve? Wow. I mean, think about throwing a mouthful out, right? Walking up to the line of scrimmage with 25 seconds left, and then having to change the damn protection, ID the mic, and then possibly, right, change the play and have a kill call, right, in that 25 seconds, and then still figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Quarterback in the NFL is the toughest position in the entire world, okay? And I'll argue with anybody on that one. Anybody.
Yeah. With that being said, Drew, your thoughts on Phillip Rivers and that debut he had? What you laugh for?
Well, because Phillip's a great quarterback, and God bless him for doing that. I mean, I know he can't push the ball down the field, and they're going to know it this week too, and they're going to start sitting on him. But I love how he got rid of it. He understands the offense because he's known it. He teaches the same offense, here. He's across the bay, coaching high school ball here. Great dude. I mean, great player. And I just hope he just doesn't get just rocked. I just hope he doesn't. I mean, because he just can't. He doesn't move very well. I mean, but he never did. but he was always really cerebral and a really good player. I mean, but man, that takes a lot of guts to do that because, man, people don't understand. If you have never been on an NFL sideline and seen a game from down on the sideline, you have no damn idea how fast that game is. None. I mean, you think you do, but you don't. I mean, I was down there one time with the Giants when we had Anthony Spencer and DeMarcus Ware on those edges. And, man, I watched Eli. It was vicious. I mean, he had about 2.1 seconds to get rid of that damn ball because when you got fire breathers like that, you better know where to go with the ball. So, yeah. I digress. I apologize. Sorry about that.
No, that's why we love you, Drew. That's why we.
I want to make one little point. Okay?
No, go ahead.
And I hope this gets out. Okay. I wish the retarded idiots, okay, on X, okay, that think they know would just shut up. Okay. Because I don't pay you to evaluate. I don't care what you think. Okay. So give me a break. Okay. Just shut up. Okay.
Oh, that's.
I'm not real politically correct, am I? and I apologize for saying retards. I mean, I should not say that. I mean, but
no, you're good.
No.
Hey, Drew, Diego Pavia, y'all invited him? Did y'all invite him? What happened with that?
Yeah, he accepted.
Okay. Obviously, what happened, didn't win the Heisman, didn't handle it well. I don't know how much you could speak on with that, but whatever you can, your thoughts on it.
I'm not going to speak on it, but he's going to have a lot of questions to answer when he comes down here in interviews, and again, you got to understand when you say something stupid, like I just did just a little bit ago, that there may be ramifications, and, I hope there's not. And I hope people understand that, a salty young man, does make mistakes. And, and I think that he'll have to answer a lot of questions down here. He will.
Yeah, it does feel like, we're getting more and more, not just in social media now, but now there's so many podcasters that are putting on. Puka Nacua just got in trouble the other day, and he said like 6 dumb things in a row, but he's had to apologize for one of them. I'm
apologizing up front for what I said.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I should not have used that word. Okay.
No, I got you.
I mean that. I apologize. I could have used a different word, but you knew where I was coming from.
No, believe me, I know where you're coming from. We've all been in arguments on X before. One-sided arguments of somebody repeatedly telling us how dumb we are. And we're like, man, I'm talking to different people. Trust me. But I won't go to it. But I've had conversations with very high up people in the industry and very high up people who have done great jobs coaching. And then I've talked to people very low, and some of them are much meaner about what they think about my opinions. Yeah. So I know how you feel, Drew. I appreciate you. We may have to cut us out of the top of that statement, though, if we put it. But so
don't put the statement out there.
You good, Drew. He is Drew Fabianich, Executive Director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Hey, Drew, you got anything you want to promote with the Senior Bowl of what y'all got going on?
I'm gonna tell you what, we're about 50% sold out right now.
Nice.
So people, you better get online and you better reserve the tickets. Really quickly, because we're already half capacity already, and it's sold out. It sold out last year. So take advantage of it and make sure that you understand that there's no other place you can go to watch more draftable players in one place at one time, anywhere, and that's bottom line. So see the future of the NFL in one place.
Appreciate you, Drew. Drew Fabianich, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl. Love to talk to you next week. Appreciate you.
We won't be, remember?
Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Happy holidays, Drew. Appreciate you, man.
All right. See you, brother.
Yeah, man. Drew keeping it real with us about, Texas right now. Because he's questioning a lot of these decisions being made, Patrick, as he should. Like, he knows Chad Scott on a personal level. And I said it when it happened. Chad Scott, he went Kevin Costner, bodyguard, taking the bullet for Whitney Houston because we all saw what that offensive line was. And I guess that relationship with Kyle Flood and Steve Sarkeesian is way better than what it is with Pete Kwiatkowski, because I would have got rid of Kyle Flood before I got rid of Pete Kwiatkowski. That's for sure. Like,
I mean, if I would have thought
we have to get rid of somebody. That's what I mean.
And two, we all would have thought, okay, what's the biggest gripe been for the last 3 years now of Sark, and the argument being had of is he going to be the play caller or not on the offensive end or being a head coach? So you would have said, well, Kyle Flood is the OC. Well, do you let him go and go get a really big name fish as an OC who could also call plays and work with Sark? Was that something that could have been in the works? Look, we haven't seen the last of it, because in all reality, you expect some of this stuff to happen January 1st through 4th. Some other changes in the coaching staff before you hit that portal. But after the bowl game, you just don't really expect this stuff to happen pre-bowl game. Look, I could believe that PK maybe was listening to other offers, and that could have been something that played into this, that he was at least seeing the writing on the wall, that his job security may not have been as good, and that's why this happened so fast, is that, there's other jobs opening up where he may be interested, not as a head coach, but as a DC somewhere else. Notably USC, I believe, has an open DC position, which puts him back into a position that I feel he'd probably be more comfortable coaching in. Because again, I just think that Will Muschamp's just been in the SEC for much longer than PK has. Whether or not that makes him a better coordinator or anything else is that's, I'm gonna have to go look more into this. I was not expecting it today.
Yeah. I appreciate you jumping on, Patrick. Like, you didn't have to do that. I know you got your show with Matt, a couple hours too. But for the folks who just jumped on, the reason why Patrick's here is because Chip had to go. Breaking news: Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Akina out. Will Muschamp in as the defensive coordinator for the Texas Longhorns. So that happened around what time that happened?
About 45 minutes ago or so, we think.
45 minutes, yeah. Chip sent that text around. So I say about like 2:30. We'll give it 2:30. That happened. And we've been trying to dissect it ever since. Obviously we just talked to Drew about it. And just sometimes it just doesn't fit. Like sometimes things could get stale, and I thought the move, Jalen Gilbo moving to the outside wasn't great. That was kind of a head scratcher for me. I thought Grayson Littleton was really good this year. So that's a big time positive. Kenote Hudson, who is the Nichols coach, what does it mean for him? Kenoto Hudson, excuse me. Like, what does it mean for him? Moving forward, because I thought he did a decent job. But as you mentioned earlier, Patrick, there's been a lot of guys opting out and transferring. The Leon Lafau thing, you had to assume there was more to that, because I thought Leon Lafau was a guy that would spend his whole Texas tenure here in the state. And for him to leave, that was shocking. And now for Kwiatkowski to leave, it's like, okay, that ain't as shocking as it was a couple of days ago.
No, and I mean, and we look at like the LaFau thing too. We you look at and say we all thought he was going to be stepping into that role of leadership for when Anthony Hill leaving, but I think that might be part of the PK at the end of the season. Seeing when Michael Taft was out and Anthony Hill was out, how many misaligned defenses there were, how many times the defense just completely busted a play. And if you're looking at that as a coach on the offensive side of the ball, you go, wait, are our players on the field actually getting our guys in the right spot? Are you as a coach teaching them to be in the right spots? Because it feels like without Michael Taft and Anthony Hill, this defense is bad. Not okay, but like bad because of how many times you just watched and there's a tight end and they just don't cover him because someone else wasn't on the field to point it to him. And look, we had that problem with the offensive line as well this year, where it felt like guys were in positions they didn't know what to do. So if we look at that, I think that has to be a bit of the come to Jesus moment that he may have had, where this starts in the rift. We know we've seen these rifts before with coaches. Appreciate you, Naman. But like when we see these riff with coaches, it starts with somebody walking in a room and goes, why the hell is this happening? And once you start defending yourself instead of trying to fix a problem, and again, I don't know if that's completely what happened, but we know that was while I was going back, that was a Tom Herman. When Tom Herman started to defend himself instead of fixing the problems, you went, okay, we're ready to move on to a new coach. And so you could see, man, we're starting to leak a lot of water, and you're not giving me solutions.
Right. And there's a lot of good, like the development of Michael Taft. That's incredible.
Oh, exactly.
That's well, and again, Michael Taft had a ton to do with that, more than the coaching staff did. But the coaches still have to put you in a place to be successful, to what you were saying. And Michael Taft went from walk-on to All-American. Hell, we just talked to Drew. He's going to be in that Panini Senior Bowl. And there's nothing but top dogs in that game. So there's a ton of positives that Puka Nacua did and brought to the table. Hell, David Benda, that one's huge. Like David Benda, he was one of those guys, he was just kind of lost in the fold. And it took him a while, but his last few years, he was really reliable. So that coaching staff, Puka Nacua, he did a lot of good things, man, but clearly they can't ignore the big time flaws and big time just lapses that happen. Like that Travion Henderson one, you should be in the national championship. Oh, Chip brings it up all the time. I can't stand when he brings it up, but I feel like it's appropriate at this time. We're trying to figure, like, that's a championship team. The 2024 Texas Longhorns should have been a national championship team. I remember how devastated I was having to do the post-game show that day. Just thinking, wow, man, you don't get many opportunities where the roster looks like that and you have a chance to win it, and it just squanders through your hands. And that play alone was the reason why. Like, you had all the momentum before that play. And, yesterday I tried to give Puka Nacua the benefit of the doubt because I've been watching the Patriots this year due to their success. Travion Henderson can ball.
He's a player.
He could ball. That son of a B, he's cold as hell. And the fact that Ohio State had him and Quinshon Judkins, who's doing this thing for the Browns this year, man, Ryan Day, you lucky bastard. But still, that shouldn't be happening. In that situation, that shouldn't be happening. And then this year, even though you went 9-3, the Florida game, you're like, what the hell? Just how many times, guys, the miscommunication was there in the Georgia game where Jalen Gilbo and Mookie Taft, one's pointing one way, the other's pointing the other way, and whoop, Gunnar Stockton hits his man wide open down the field, and you get drove in Athens.
Wait, Vanderbilt with what's his name? Eli Stowers.
Yeah.
The one guy they have on that offense that you're like, better watch out for. And he goes unguarded, unwatched, untouched into the end zone on the easiest play in the history of football. And you're like, how did nobody on this field think to go get it? And I agree, this is not simply on PK, it's on the players, but this is part of why you start to look at why he could be. I'll have two questions for you, though, Zay. The ones that are popping in my head right now. What's up with Johnny Nansen? Because he's a co-DC. So does he still a co-DC and he's still there in Will Muschamp's world? Or do you lose Nansen? Because Nansen was a huge piece of how much better our defense got when he came on a year ago. Like, he helped a lot of things when he came on a year ago. And that some credit goes to PK, but I think some credit goes to Johnny Nansen. So I'm curious if he stays on as a linebackers coach, or that, is he gone in the wind now with a basically recruiting all new linebacking core, except for a few young guys. But we talk about Atkinson, we talk about Elijah Burke, and some of these young guys we expect to step up next season. Ty Anthony Smith. If you lose Nansen, who's their coach and their defensive coordinator, that becomes, who are you bringing in to fix that? So that one, and then one I don't know who's wearing the green dot in the Citrus Bowl for this defense right now. I've been asking this for a few
Anthony
days
Smith?
now. But that's like, is it Ty Anthony Smith? Ty Anthony Smith lined up wrong 20 times this season. I think he's a great player, but I don't know if he's the leader of the team. I mean, like, is he de facto guy?
Nah,
If McDonald plays, is it Jelani?
Yeah, this was his see ball, get ball season. It has everything else, like thinking the game and, calling shots. That's the next part for Ty Anthony Smith. But yeah, I don't think you have a choice there, Patrick. Like, you looking at this roster, Barry Sarkeesian. Like, you go.
No, you go. It's Jelani is the one that we would go is most experienced. He's just too far back. So can he be the green dot and call the plays from the safety position? Because he'd be the most ready to do it. But I don't know if you want to do a linebacker, it has to be Ty Anthony Smith. But now you're also talking with Will Muschamp, as opposed to the guy that you played with. You got to coach all year.
Right. And yeah, as far as Johnny Nansen, I guess that depends on the leverage that Will Muschamp has. And does Will Muschamp and Steve Sarkeesian, can they agree on if Will Muschamp wants his guys that he could bring in that Sark could be cool with? Or is Sark letting them know, like, hey, you getting this job, cool, but I'm keeping some of these guys. Yeah. Like, you should keep Kenny Baker. You should keep Alan Clark. Those guys need to be kept. Everybody else, I really do. Even Johnny Nansen, I'm like, I don't know. Just for some comfort, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's tough. Like, again, you would hope that they had this all, Steve Sarkeesian, Chris Del Conte, everybody had this thought through. Like, this wasn't just out the blue.
Again, they sent out a press release that, I mean, you got on the show here, we got Chip Brown, who is one of the best reporters out there for Texas, and he's caught off guard. I mean, I'm looking on the line. You look on Twitter and you see ex-players, you see everybody being shocked about it. So they did all of this. So there could still be plenty of moves in there where they're waiting to get the next guy and saying, well, we're not going to say this guy's fired until we know who we got to replace them, because we don't want that down period in between. But no, it does feel like this is a much more aggressive. Also, you can say they've made 2 coaching hires so far, Zay. Both coaches last season were with teams that beat us. Jabbar Jalouk from Florida and Will Muschamp was from Georgia. Will Muschamp was with Georgia last year as an analyst. He was their DC and then moved to an analyst. So I'm just saying, like, they went out and said, we're going to go look at the schools that beat us and go figure out why they beat us and try and take away their best pieces.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy times, man. Like, and then again, was this Sark's decision? Was this the higher ups above him? Was it their decision when they were like, yo, you have to make some serious moves, and we're going to point to where we want those moves to go. We're not saying do it, but we're just going to point. And
but that feels but it's Kyle Flood. Like, that is
Kyle. Like, Kyle Flood and Puka Nacua are both in the area that they were pointing to. One of them, something, because that's where I'm at too, Patrick. Like, Kyle Flood's the dude. If we have to get rid of one of the coordinators, Kyle Flood's the dude. I think Jeff Banks' responsibility is a lot too, because one year the tight end's good, and then the special teams sucks. Or other year, the special teams is good, and the tight ends aren't that good, which I know it was a trickle-down effect due to the offensive line. They had to bring Max Protect. I get all that, but still, those tight ends this year, from going from JT Sanders and Gunnar Helm to what I saw, got to be better there. Ryan Niblett saved the day for my man Jeff Banks. He did everything. You good with special teams because of Ryan Niblett. So Jeff Banks is cool. We ain't worried about him. But Kyle Flood, there's zero excuse.
But also Jeff Banks is a hell of a recruiter.
For sure.
And he gets that. And Chad Scott, I know Drew's a big fan of his, but his recruiting for Texas was not as where it needed to be. At least that's how some people felt. I'll say some people felt that his recruiting was not where it needed to be. And his retention was definitely not where it needed to be because he's got 3 guys gone already from there. So that part of it is there. And for PK, again, you look at the opt-outs, you look at the guys going pro, you look at maybe the draft stock of those guys not being where they were, where Anthony Hill now is projected as a 2nd-round pick, not a 1st-round pick, which is insane. Whoever gets Anthony Hill is getting the biggest steal of the draft right now because that dude is going to be insane in the NFL. But we're looking at it that way. You may say, you really knocked down some stock of some dudes because we played so backwards. And this could have been that PK does want to go back somewhere else and wasn't as happy his last year there. Sometimes these are attitude decisions. And, you're walking in and once you can't walk into the practice every morning and be upbeat and ready to go and get your guys in the right spot. And whether that is he's got too many guys that aren't his guys, like Dwayne Aquina, who's also gone now, but Johnny Nansen, if they're not PK guys, so he's getting, whatever all the reasons could be, that you could find a reason why this was a decision made right now. But if we look at Kyle Flood, unless I'm Kyle Flood and I've been told by both CDC and by Sark that my job is safe, I've got to go bag ready. I've got to go bag ready.
Ready to go just in case, huh?
Ready. I got to go bag ready. I'm like, hey, I don't know. They just got rid of PK. I thought we were good. Hey, man, we worked at the Horn, and we know sometimes you need that go bag ready.
Yeah,
some days it comes down.
Yeah, definitely at that place for sure. Yeah. I shocked, man. Shocked. Pete Kwiatkowski out right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas.
Right
hey, he
before
got a job.
Man.
Hey, you tell me right now that Lincoln Riley, that's not the first phone call I make. The second I see that, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm calling PK.
Who was Lincoln Riley's DC last year? And what happened? Like, where's that? Because, whoever it was, Pete Kwiatkowski's better than that person. But, Pete Kwiatkowski's going to get a gig quick.
D'Anton Lynn?
Yeah, I know who that is.
He was from UCLA before that.
Okay. Well, God bless that dude. But, Muschamp. I like Muschamp now because he was with Georgia and them. Anything that Kirby Smart's out here doing, Glenn Schumann, and Muschamp was a big part of their success too. He was a part of that. He was in there. He just didn't get the credit like those two did. So just taking up all that game, man. And when your time is coming again, wait for that opportunity. The best opportunity, Texas, going back to Texas, with everything that he's learned, everything that he's gone through. Again, you don't have to be a great head coach to be a great coordinator. Sometimes people look at the two and they're like, oh, look what he did as a head coach. It's not the same. The responsibilities, everything that you just have to take on as a head coach, it ain't even close to that as a DC. Sark has to deal with all that BS stuff and talking, having the separate phones and stuff like that. As a DC, you probably need a separate phone for recruiting and your family, but you don't got to talk to the boosters like that. So when he was at Florida, that was, you're coming in after Urban at Florida. Oh, it's tough coming in after the guy that had a lot of success. Will Muschamp, he wasn't ready then. So now, and he might not ever have been ready for be a head coach. And that's okay. It don't mean that he don't know what the hell he's talking about, or it's not going to click as a DC where he's had success. We've seen it live, up close and personal, have success as a defensive coordinator. So just hopefully it's not like the Dwayne Aquina situation, which, again, Patrick, I heard from multiple sources that Dwayne Aquina, the style that he was coaching, he felt like he couldn't coach like he used to because the players, they can't take that. They have to be coddled, and it's just a different generation. And that hard ass Bob Knight style of coaching, you get canceled quick doing stuff like that.
You do.
So Aaron Ross, Mike Griffin, Cedric Griffin, Mike Huff, all those dudes, they could take that type of coaching.
Rod Babers,
come on, man. Who we talking about here?
Yeah. No, I mean, Rod used to say that he used to go in and in the meeting room, they would have their desk lined up and with your name on your desk. And then some days you'd walk in and the desk would be moved, or your name would be moved, and you wouldn't be in the front anymore. He'd be like, nope, you got passed. And you're like, well, you do that now, and they're calling NIL and they're calling everybody else. You're like, you just can't, like, as silly as that is, it's a different coaching style now.
Yeah.
So
what do you want from Dwayne Aquino? Like, of course he can't relate, which is part on him, because he has to be able to adjust. But they were baking that they were getting the same Dwayne Aquino, and that's just not possible. It's not possible. Like, if y'all want that same Dwayne Aquino, he would have been canceled in early September. You know what I'm saying? Because he just can't coach.
Yeah, there would have been an apology letter and all of that already put out.
Yeah, like the style that we love Dwayne Aquino for, that no longer exists.
Yeah,
because it can't happen. It just can't, which sucks. I hate that we've gotten that soft. Some of it was out of pocket. Like, I don't want you choking or throwing chairs at folks, Bob Knight style. A lot of that was out of pocket, but we got to find that middle ground. You know what I'm saying? You got to find that middle ground. And that's, again, it's on the player that you recruit. Like, you got to recruit guys like that they might be 3 stars, 2 stars, got it from the mud. You know, some of these 4 or 5 stars, they come in entitled. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have no entitlement in your locker room, because now the main thing ain't the main thing anymore. And I feel like a lot of these schools around the country are dealing with that.
Yeah. I'll throw in a note that I'm just looking at Will Muschamp's work history. Since 2001, other than this Texas run for 2 seasons and being the Dolphins for a season, he's been on SEC teams. From LSU to Auburn to Florida to South Carolina to Georgia. He's been in the SEC for a while. And I think that's one of those things that, you know, as much as we're always labeled SEC homers and everything else by people from other conferences, you're like, the style of play is different. The level of play, the dudes you're getting in there are different guys. You're recruiting different areas. You're getting a lot more Florida, Georgia players now than PK's ever coached before. So there may be something where, you know, you just feel Will Muschamp's going to work better with that style of player and that style of play. You feel this is the better way to move forward. And, you know, how much of this was they decided to fire PK a month ago, and then they had to find Will Muschamp, find whoever they're going to hire, bring him in, or they made this all decision, saw Will Muschamp was available, and they've liked Will Muschamp. Again, I'll say with Jabbar Jalouk, you know, the Chad Scott thing was, I remember going over that, and they had like 3 or 4 names on that list, and he was 4th. And he's a good hire because it's Texas, and your 4th name is still better than a lot of other teams' first. But you're still like, they were never, that was never the guy they really wanted. And maybe they showed that too much. And Chad Scott's attitude wasn't perfect because he knows Neil Brown also gone as an analyst. Yeah. He took the North Texas job. So there's just a lot of things that happen in there. Zay, would you assume before the transfer portal that we get at least one other big coaching change? Or are we talking Kyle Flood level? Are we talking maybe Chris Jackson level? Are we talking maybe just hiring some support staff?
Yeah, I would say it would be around the Johnny Nansen, Chris Jackson level if someone else were to get the boot. Like, hey, you. But again, just never know at this point. Like, I'm flabbergasted at what's happened today. You know what I'm saying? And here's Steve Sarkeesian's actual, you know, statement on the firing of Pete Kwiatkowski. Sark says, we appreciate all that Pete Kwiatkowski has done for the program in his 5 years coordinating our defense, and are grateful for Dwayne Aquino's efforts in returning to the program this past year. They are both tremendous coaches and people that work extremely hard for Texas football and the players they coached. We have had a great deal of success and thankful for the roles they've played and that we wish them the best. But at this time, we just felt it was the best for our program to move in a different direction. And having that opportunity to hire Will Muschamp provides us the leadership to take our defense to another level. Will is a guy I've known for a long time, always admired, and is as good of a defensive mind and coach as I've ever coached against. His defenses are relentless. He absolutely gets the best of his staff and players and is such an extremely well-respected coach. I know Longhorn Nation knows him well. He led some incredible defenses here at the 40, and I'm so fired up to bring him back at Texas. He'll be an awesome addition to our staff. So, yeah, very high words for Will Muschamp from Steve Sarkeesian. And, yeah, just crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a shocking move of really when you think you're going to get the left jab and you just right uppercut. We were like, oh, well, Kyle Flood, maybe. I think he's probably going to keep him, and maybe Chris Jackson will be gone, and they'll move around some pieces. We all kind of assumed Dwayne Aquina that it just wasn't working out the way the secondary didn't progress. So once we get that, it feels like all right, now we don't know. Now it does feel maybe the panic that a lot of people felt or the anger people felt at the end of the season by not making the playoffs and felt that it wasn't reciprocated within the program, where we saw some people feel that Sark really did not appreciate how angry they were. It feels like there are repercussions for not making the playoffs, and the standard is the standard of what they want to be and where they want to be and trying to make the playoffs. And that loss to Florida, that's the one they're going to look at and go, do you let a Florida team and DJ Lagway, who couldn't do anything all season, torch us? Your defense couldn't tackle Dallas or whatever the guy's name. You couldn't tackle him. Dallas Wilson. You couldn't tackle him. Like, all right. It's going to be a problem. Like, coach great against Ohio State. Defense great against Ohio State. Defense, maybe they got rid of him because Colin Klein left A&M and they went, fine. Well, main reason we were keeping you is because you own Colin Klein.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. And I said on these airwaves, when Texas Tech, A&M, and Oklahoma make the college football playoff and you don't, it's bad year. It's a bad year. That's why I call this year a disappointment. Say what you want about 9-3, and I might change my tone on that depending on how OU, A&M, and Texas Tech does in the college football playoff. But overall, they still made it, and Texas did not. So there's a lot more people that are going to panic from that than you would assume. And this seems like that type of panic to make a move like this. This is a very drastic move, and yeah, we'll keep talking about it. Matt will be on with Patrick in a couple of minutes to keep on discussing Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Aquina. I got to go Vince McMahon on this one. Fired! And my man, Will Muschamp coming in. Wow. Yeah, crazy times on the 40. But let's get to one of these sponsors before I get to the right call and get out of here. Shout out to Covert Bee Cave, family owned and operated, doing it for 100 years. Covert Bee Cave is the best. If you don't want to take my word for how great Covert Bee Cave is, listen to these fine folks at Covert Bee Cave.
You see Covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, so we briefly talked about Puka Nacua. Let's bring this up in the right call. Puka Nacua was on a streamer's site. They were streaming. The streamer brought up some gesture that was apparently anti-Semitic, and Puka Nacua said he was going to celebrate doing that on the field, and he scored a touchdown and then did it on the stream. Again, offensive. So much so, I didn't even know what it was, to be honest. So I didn't either. I saw it. I was like, I don't know what that means, but hey, don't be mad at me. Like, Puka Nacua did it, and he had to apologize for it. So he did that. But he's also in the headlines for wrong reasons, Patrick, because apparently his brother's a nut job. His brother allegedly and another dude stole the car of NBA players Adu Theros, who was at Arkansas last year, his SUV without his consent, and got arrested for it. So this is a weird story. Like, does he know Adu Thero? Like, did he just do it like as a joke, but without telling him? And then Thero was like, this ain't no joke, or are these fools really on their Grand Theft Auto and just out here taking cars and stuff? But it's weird that it's Puka Nacua's brother who's been in the UFL and he's played football. He's had a career kind of, obviously not as good as bro, but there's this clip here of him slapping the hell out of a fan at one of the UFL games, man. And anybody getting slapped, I'm going to laugh. Like, damn, this dude's trouble. And you mentioned earlier, we were talking to Drew, Puka Nacua, he was on the streaming service talking crazy, saying a whole bunch of stuff that he shouldn't be saying, talking about the refs, talking about the Jags being the most overrated team, just things as a player you shouldn't be saying. But
said Julio Jones, greatest receiver of all time.
I mean, I'm cool with that.
I'm not. Jerry Rice. There's one right answer. It's Jerry Rice.
No,
There's one right answer.
Let's see Jerry Rice. I'll give him
I don't care. There's still one right answer.
I let the youngsters throw their goats out there. If they feel like someone's a goat that might not be the goat to me, who am I to say, what y'all that they're messing up with their goat decisions and conversations. But
no, the refs are out there making calls just so they can be seen on TV. He also said, I can't afford to live in LA on $1 million.
Oh my gosh.
Wall, he also has a solid gold plated box with a glass panel in it that he carries his cleats in to the game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these guys, you can afford it. You just want to live a lavish lifestyle. Why do they get? That's what I'm confused on. Like, they want to live above their means because that's what everyone pictures. You know what I'm saying? Everybody pictures the status being so extravagant when really guys go broke all the time. Yeah. So I hate when they say stuff like that. It's so ignorant. Like Odell Beckham Jr., he was like 100 million. Don't really go as far as it used to. What?
He's right. That's also an insane thing to say. Because if you gave me $100 million or then we're good.
Yeah, I'm great.
Good. Man, I bought myself a house.
Yeah.
I have enough money put away, invested, that just pays a property tax on that thing every year. My bills, I sit and I go and hang out with my friends. And the most money I spend is when I'm like, guys, we're going all out. I'm getting the big bottle of Jack tonight. That's all the difference.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's that easy. It's that easy. These guys, man, these Instagram models, they got them messed up. Screw them Instagram models. Oh, Stacy, that's a 6, would do everything in the bedroom that Tanya, the Instagram model with 5 million followers, will do too. and she's a lot less expensive. But the status, I need the Instagram model. She's so bad. She looks so good. She got that fake booty, and it's crazy. I need it.
Oh, dude, I can't wait till we see Diego Pavia just throwing it away. Everything he made at Vanderbilt just gone in a year to Instagram models.
That's going to be sad, man. That's going to be sad. Patrick, I appreciate you, man, jumping in just out the blue. Chip, we'll be back tomorrow to break down Pete Kwiatkowski, Dwayne Akina firing. But till then, open gym. My man Matt jumping on. Matt, what's up, man?
I just popped into the waiting room when Zay was talking about Instagram models and big booties and stuff, so I was a little bit caught off guard. But hey, that's a way to start the show, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm just trying to let these athletes know, Matt, they don't need that.
They absolutely do not.
Like, there's nice, wholesome, church-going women everywhere that would love to have an athlete that you could just stay at home with, that you're not buying $50,000 Birkin bags for, and you paying for they weave every other weekend, and it's a lot.
Well, who is the genesis of this conversation? I missed the beginning of that.
I don't know how we got here, Patrick.
Puka.
Puka? Okay. Well, how old is Puka Nacua? How old are most of these athletes who are making these decisions?
Like 25.
They're 24, 25 years old. I know that I wasn't the best judge of those kinds of things when I was that age. So, it is what it is. Once they figure out, think what is really important about a relationship later in life, they will find the right person.
Yeah. Puka Nacua also said in his interview, he'll never get married. Women are only coming after you for your money.
See, there he is. I like
that. He's already got a baby mama coming after him.
Yep. See, he learned, Matt. He learned.
He's already got it.
See, he learned. It was too late. It was too late. The advice that I'm giving Puka, it's too late. And now he has to learn the hard way in California, nonetheless. Lord. Appreciate you guys, man. I'll have a great show. Patrick, appreciate you, man. Be back tomorrow.
See y'all tomorrow. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patty Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. That's how we keep it open. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. I do need to check the text line. We've been going, Matt. I have been on here for already like an hour and 15 minutes or so. We hopped on because our man Chip Brown had to run when that news broke today that if anybody has missed it, Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Akina are out. They have been let go by Texas football, and they have hired Will Muschamp as the replacement. There is still a lot going on, and we're trying to figure out where it's at. But Matt, that's a surprising one. We kind of getting some news every day. We've getting a little bit to get into. And then that's the big one. And it's overshadowed something that is another report that has come out today that Trey Wisner is apparently returning. That news that he is now, I've read from a few different people that it's reported that he is coming back. I have not seen that one as validified as I know that the University of Texas and Sark has made a statement about the hiring of Will Muschamp and firing of Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Akina. But Matt, nothing's slow on a holiday Thursday, is it?
I just want to play this real quick.
Everybody see that? Got control. Everybody just do your job. You understand that?
That is your new defensive coordinator, guys. I am pumped about this. I was shocked. I was sitting here about to record a podcast, and the day had finally started to slow down a little bit. There was some weird news out of Texas A&M about one of their wide receivers signing a new contract extension, and it was announced as a contract extension and that he was going to be the highest paid wide receiver in college football.
USC.
I was like,
USC started that.
Yeah,
crap.
USC's doing it. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll write that real quick. And then this dropped, and I was like, I am really glad I'm not on the air right now because I need to get all this taken care of. And thankfully, I was not. Chip had to bounce, and Patrick was was kind enough to hop on to do 3 hours and 15 minutes straight of radio.
I've done it before. I used to do 4 hours a day, Matt. I'm more used to it.
Yeah, but this is what up, Naman? This is, I think, it was shocking. I will say that it was shocking.
Yeah.
I consider Pete Kwiatkowski one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. I think he's a top 10 defensive coordinator in college football. Obviously, things regressed this year. A large part of it was yes, Gringo. I know it's hard. But obviously, you know, the Texas defense took a major step back at some point this year. I think a large part of that was due to Dwayne Aquina and the way that he was coaching that safety room. But hey, Sark obviously took the news of not making the playoff and the way that the season went as a wake-up call. And if there was any sign that there was going to be a wake-up call that needed to be made, I think that we have it now, because he is doing everything he can to revamp this coaching staff. He's going to do everything he can in the portal to revamp this roster. And Patrick, I'm going to be real honest with you. When I heard Will Muschamp at first, I was like, wow, I haven't heard about him in a while. So I texted my buddy Brooks, who we tried to get on the show, but he's on his way to College Station right now. And I was like, Brooks, like, is Will Muschamp still a good defensive coach? And he came back with an F yes. I'm censoring it for the show.
Yes.
He's like, he is the guy that game planned against Texas over the last couple of years and really did the job in shutting them down. He's one of the best minds in college football. He called Will Muschamp a top 5 defensive coordinator in the country. He obviously brings a ton of energy. He brings a ton of experience. And really, if you think about it, his only issues as a coach throughout his career have been when he's a head coach. When he's been a defensive coordinator, he has been, if not the best, one of the best in the nation. So I think that this is actually a major upgrade for Texas.
Yeah, and Dame, he did coach alongside Mac Brown because he was the heir apparent at Texas many years ago. Will Muschamp was named coach in waiting at Texas in 2009, 2010, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
He was named the coach in waiting at Texas, that he was going to be the next head coach. And that was something that was being done around that time. And Mac Brown was like, yeah, I'm coaching waiting. I expect to be here another 15, 20 years, though. So you're going to be a DC forever. That was never going to work. It was just a way to keep him for another year. But he went off and did it. It's one of those things. And I hopped on with Zay, and you're just trying to unpack it in the moment. But it is, how much of this has been brewing between Sark and PK, or the higher ups at Texas and PK, of 2 years ago being that the defense was not, the secondary was not really where it needed to be. You bring in Johnny Nansen, you bring in some other people to try and fix that, and you do. And you become last year one of the top defenses. What Zay brought up is what Chip always brings up, is the Travion Henderson play at the end of the first half against Ohio State, that if you're in the right position, you're in the right spot, that doesn't happen. There's a much better chance you could have been national champions a year ago. And so that little bad taste of those defensive things. And when you have an offensive head coach, there's always going to be extended pressure onto the defense to make sure you put yourself in the best position to win. I think he's done a good job. The regression at the end of the season, Matt, one of the pieces I brought up earlier is watching the defense be pretty unsure of where to be. It's a nice way I'll say this, without Michael Taft or Anthony Hill on the field. When you lost your coaches on the field, it didn't feel like this was a great coach defense. It didn't feel like the coaching was really getting everybody to know where they were, to where you feel comfortable with Ty Anthony Smith being a guy who can now take over a bigger role instead of being the go-getter of the linebacker core. You don't really feel as confident because you're like, I don't know how much he knows, because he's just lining up in really bad spots when Anthony Hill wasn't out there. And when Michael Taft wasn't out there, the secondary didn't get lined up right. And so I think those might play into a decision of, we need a guy who's going to coach up more guys on our roster, which means bringing in more support, means bringing in other things, but seeing where, we're lucky we have those players, but we're losing 2 coaches on the field. We may need to change up this attitude going forward, because it's now like there's already going to be a big shift in defense after the season. We can see it with the opt-outs, that this may be the time of, well, maybe we buy PK another year. Muschamp's available now. He probably won't be in a year. Muschamp's a guy Sark really likes. I would like to wait another year. I'd like to give PK the benefit of the doubt, but this is show business, not show friends. We need to get in there and make the move now so we feel more confident going forward. And again, Muschamp's an SEC guy. PK was a Pac-12 guy. PK did well in the Big Ten. He had some good success in the SEC, but he lost at the higher levels. Florida outdid him. Georgia's outdone him. But he's done pretty well. Not taking a shot at PK, because I think PK is still a really good defensive coordinator. But it just feels like when you're trying to put together a championship team, sometimes you have to sit there and say, these are the hard decisions. And if we can upgrade our running backs coach from the 10th best running backs coach to the 5th best, well, let's do that. We can upgrade our defensive coordinator from the 7th best to the 4th best. Let's go do that.
I thought about it, CB.
You would we have to upgrade wherever we can. And it just kind of feels like this is one of those decisions. Whether it's more in the making, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see more reports and we'll get more stuff. I hopped on, so I've texted with a couple people, but no one that has got anything definitive yet. So, it's more along the lines of, we'll find out, but it leaves me with two questions. I'll pose these to you, Matt, early on here that I asked Zay about. What about Johnny Nansen now, who came on a year ago and really seemed to help the defense a lot, but was a linebackers coach, that Anthony Hill's leaving and Leon Lefau are leaving. So what's the deal with Johnny Nansen now with Will Muschamp coming in? And then on the other, now who the hell is wearing the green dot on this defense? Because the green dot now has gone to a guy who's never had a green dot and doesn't know the play caller. Is going to meet the play caller today, tomorrow. The game's in 2 weeks.
Well, do we know if Muschamp's calling plays in the?
It's been reported that he is.
He's calling plays in the Michigan game. Wow. Okay.
There's been some reports of it. I mean, who else would be calling plays? Nansen?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But I don't know what happens with Johnny Nansen. Here's what I think, just off of instinct or whatever you want to call it. I think if you bring in a guy like Will Muschamp, you are basically handing the keys of the defense to this guy, and you are going to let him do what he wants to do with that staff. Right? I think that you say, hey, Gringo, I don't enjoy it that much. Give me a break.
We all got to make money, Gringo. We all got to make money.
Look, I'm really good at what I do, and they want to hear my opinion, so I let them pay me for it. I think that you say, hey, okay, we got Alan Clark. We've got, Mark Orphy. We've got this guy. We've got this guy. We think they're really good. I expect a couple of these guys to stick around. But if Will Muschamp comes to you and says, hey, I want to make a change at this position, I want to make a change at that position, you listen to him and you let him go get the guys that he wants to get, that he wants to coach with.
That's
and
what
if Johnny Nansen doesn't fall into that category, then maybe he's gone. I think this is unbelievable, an unbelievable hire. I would let him do whatever he wants to do with that defense. Emmanuel Acho, in fact, tweeted a stat, or I don't even know if you'd call it a stat, but he tweeted something a few minutes ago that I want to read to you guys that I think is crazy. Will Muschamp's NFL draft picks in the 2010 BCS game. Sam Macho, 4th round pick. Lamar Houston, 2nd round pick. Keaston Randall, 7th round pick. Sergio Kendall, 2nd round pick. Emmanuel Acho, 6th round pick. Keenan Robinson, 4th round pick. Roderick McElroy, 4th round pick. Earl Thomas, 1st round pick. AJ Williams, 2nd round pick. Curtis Brown, 3rd round pick. Chikey Brown, 5th round pick. And Blake Gideon, who played in the NFL. Every single player on that starting defense made it to the NFL. So not only is this guy an absolute schematic game planning wizard, but he's also a phenomenal developer of talent. And I'll tell you one thing. What has been everybody's biggest complaint about PK over the last few years?
Zone.
Sitting back in a soft
Sitting back
zone and being conservative and doing the bend but don't break thing, right?
Yeah.
Will Muschamp ain't going to do that.
No.
If you watch the Georgia everybody go watch the Georgia defense from the last 2 years. That's what Texas is going to do. Yeah. I can guarantee it. Except they've got Colin Simmons, they've got Justice Terry, they've got Lance Jackson. That pass rush is going to be elite. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be elite. I mean, you think about what Georgia did last year with those edges, Michael Williams, and who's the guy that went to the Falcons?
Oh, I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The edge rusher. See what they did with those two guys? That's what Texas is going to do with Colin Simmons and Lance Jackson and all these other Jalen Walker. Yes, thank you, Woodcrest.
Yeah,
they are going to do those kinds of things, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to fly around the football, and they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
No, I agree, and like it kind of makes me wonder about LaFau now a little bit. One of the things with LaFau was not a scheme fit. One of the things that was said of why we walked away from Texas. I don't know how much of him already basically saying I'm entering the portal takes Texas and Sark says, okay, that decision's been made. We're moving on. We have other targets in mind now. We would rather go get those guys. Or does he see them bring in a Will Muschamp and say, oh, no, that's the scheme I wanted. That's you were going to drop me back in coverage every freaking play, and I didn't want to do that. I don't want to drop in coverage. I want to blitz. I want to be able to go hit the runner. I want to go play defense the way I want to play it. And does a Will Muschamp maybe take somebody like that? Where I get we still need to go get a linebacker, or maybe two, but I think it does change because again, like I want to get into this either today or tomorrow about how many teams are going to be spending a ton of money in the portal this year and how crazy it's going to be. That we can't just assume, oh, we're spending a bunch of money, so we'll get who we want. Like, we're going to miss out on some of these guys. It just is what it is. So if you're able to keep LaFau and then try and go get another linebacker, I feel it can make your linebacker core really good again next year, as opposed to trying to go out and get two top-level linebackers is a little bit harder to do. Now, you may say Elijah is going to be able to step up in that role. You maybe say Atkinson is going to be able to step up in that role, and they don't have to do any of that. But just an interesting piece that we'll have to see about LaFau now, because, the soft coverages, dropping Anthony Hill back, like that's another one of those reasons. You look at Anthony Hill's draft stock, and Anthony Hill, we all agree, should be a top 15 pick in next year's draft, but he's now scouting. He's now being put in the second round because you didn't see as much. There's not as much on tape of him doing what he's capable of doing at that next level when he has a full defense around him like he will in the NFL. So, how much that goes into that, Matt, of the linebacker core now looking and saying this could be a little bit more fun.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to have any impact on LaFau or not. From what I heard, he got an NIL deal somewhere, or an NIL offer for somewhere, and that's why he's leaving. But I have heard an interesting report from Eric Nalen of Inside Texas. You talk about Will Muschamp bringing in the guys that he wants to bring in. According to Eric Nalen, Blake Gideon is the lead candidate to replace Dwayne Aquina. The same Blake Gideon who was the safeties coach in 2024 when Texas had one of the top 3 pass defenses in college football.
No, I'm sure that's a guy he'd love to have. And it's if Blake Gideon wants to come back, he's the DC of Georgia Tech right now.
Mm-hmm.
So is he a co-defensive coordinator, which means then, of course, Johnny Nanson's out and you find another linebackers coach, which he can do. We're saying that's, once you're kind of in, you can't dip your toe into changing coordinators like this. Right, Matt? You don't want to dip your toe in the water and go, well, we want to hire a coordinator, but we're not going to give him control over what his defense is going to do. You want to hire a guy and then say, if you want to keep some guys, we'll help you. We'll try and make the money right to keep guys and make it work. But if you've got other guys, there's a reason we hired you, is we think you can come in here and make this defense a top-level defense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Naman, I'm not sure if he's going to help you flip any recruits. It'd be kind of tough right now considering signing day already happened. But I think that it's going to give you a good opportunity in the future to really give you a leg up on some of these other guys that maybe weren't necessarily interested in you in first. Maybe they were really into what Georgia was doing, and maybe they were Georgia. You're gonna have an opportunity to get in on those guys now more than likely, because they're gonna like the scheme that Will Muschamp runs. Look, I think you're absolutely right, Patrick. I think that you can't dip your toe into this. If you're going to make a change at defensive coordinator, you need to make a wholesale change. And again, no disrespect to Pete Kwiatkowski. I thought he did a great job. I think he's a phenomenal coach. Will Muschamp is going to change your identity. Will Muschamp is going to change everything about what your defense is doing, and you need to allow him to bring in the guys that he's comfortable with to help him do that, whether that's Blake Gideon, a new linebackers coach, anywhere across the board. The one guy on the staff that I would be like, okay, can we please hold on to him because he's really good and he's a really good recruiter and I really like him, is Lowell Clark, the edges coach. But outside of that, I say let him have free reign. Let him do whatever he wants to do with this defense. And when you look up next year, you're gonna have a really, really good unit once again.
And for people a little bit worried about recruits, Trey Atkinson, Bo Barnes have both already put out Instagram stories. Trey Atkinson with fire below the report that Will Muschamp's coming in. Bo Barnes with scary season written with Bill Muschamp coming in. So it does feel like these guys were aware of the change happening and are excited about the change happening with that. And look, to the people who are still talking about Kyle Flood, this does mean nothing's off the table. This is the sign that nothing is off the table. So I would still not expect massive changes on the offense. I would not expect it, but I did not expect this. So it means nothing is now off the table, which does mean, that will be talked about. And do they want to bring somebody else in to be the new offensive line coach? Do they want to bring in a different offensive coordinator to run the play? Do we know if Sark's going to be calling plays next year? We would assume he is. You're going to assume all of these things until we're proven wrong, because if I told y'all 2 days ago PK's gone, you would have gone, no, Kyle Flood's gone. One of them's gone. It's definitely Kyle Flood. But today will tell you it was PK that went out. And so while we can put it on the run game not being there, and we can now say it feels like a lot of people may be taking some flack for the offensive line play being bad, that your running backs coach and your defensive coordinator have now both been fired. And a lot of that stems with your offense couldn't run the football. So I get why people are still like, I don't like this about Kyle Flood. And if you can go get the guy that you want to go get, and there is that other name, then I could see it happening. I don't know what that other name would be, though, where he would say, I'm going to change all of this up to go get another offensive coordinator / offensive line coach / whoever. I don't know who that guy is. And Will Muschamp is a guy that if you would have said they want to bring in Will Muschamp to replace PK, would have gone, oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's not something I would have probably sat in a box and petitioned for, but I get why it makes sense, Matt. He is once again, a through and through SEC guy who has played a style of defense that is much more aggressive. We've also hired 2 coaches from the 2 schools that beat us in the SEC this year. Jabbar Jaluk from Florida, and Will Muschamp was with Georgia this year. So all of those parts, you just go, all right, we see what they're doing. I will say that if Kyle Flood was fired tomorrow, it would not surprise me at this point. But I'm not expecting it, Matt.
Okay, so the offensive line coach thing, I understand why people are kind of up in arms about the way the offensive line has played this past year. It was not a banner year for Kyle Flood or that offensive line. And over his tenure at Texas, at least, I'm not as familiar with his tenure at Alabama, at least not as intimately. There's been a lot of penalties. There's been a lot of unforced errors. There's been a lot of miscommunication at times, especially this year. Obviously, you saw that on the interior. The development on the players and on the offensive line, especially on the interior, has been a little slower than you would like. You still have really good tackles. You've had really good tackles for years. You had one of the best offensive lines in the country last year. That decision all comes down to what Steve Sarkeesian wants to do with this offense. I can tell you right now, like, if I know anything, it's that Steve Sarkeesian is going to be the one who is going to call plays for this team as long as he wants to. I think that is what he likes to do. I don't think that there's anybody else in the country who can, give him the confidence that they can do it better than he can. And maybe that's kind of a pride thing, and he's really confident in himself. But I wouldn't expect a change there. If something does happen, I am now convinced that Kyle Flood, after that, I am now convinced that Kyle Flood being moved is not off the table. One thing that Steve Sarkeesian has also shown in all of his coaching changes thus far, at least the two big ones with Jabbar Jalouk and Will Muschamp, is that he is going to find the guy that he wants before he makes a move. Mm-hmm. He had circled Jabbar Jalouk before they departed ways with Chad Scott, and they went and got him like a day or two later. They announced the firing of Pete Kwiatkowski and Dwayne Akina today, and simultaneously in the same announcement announced his replacement, Will Muschamp, which means he already knew who he wanted before he made the change, and he made sure that he could get him before he made the change.
Yeah, that's how CDC operates for the most part.
And now that we're hearing from Eric Nalen at Inside Texas that Blake Gideon is already on the board for a replacement at safeties coach as a potential candidate, maybe that's something that drops in the next day or two. Who are you going to get to replace Kyle Flood? That is a question that you will have to figure out before you make this move.
And I know the name Sam Pittman is the name everyone's throwing out. I don't think that's the way I would go right now. Personally, I wouldn't go for a guy who just came off getting fired as a head coach, and his name is not necessarily probably the same in recruiting and all those other things that it was. I probably wouldn't go that route right now. I maybe in a year, I would go more Sam Pittman. If we take a year off of it, I would probably give him a chance to decompress after everything from Arkansas, and see if he still really wants to do it. But other than that, Matt, I don't know how many other names we really look at and go, oh, that's the dude.
I mean, Kyle Flood is the highest paid offensive line coach in college football. I don't think that is by accident. I think he is widely regarded as one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, and there's a reason that people seek out his knowledge, and bring him to camps and coaching, coaching conferences and those kinds of things. I mean, there are some names that are up there where you could be like, okay, this guy is really good. Is he an upgrade from Kyle Flood? I don't know. Like Alex Atkins at Florida State, Justin Fry at Ohio State, Rob Sale at Florida, who did a great job this past year and is going to put a couple of guys in the NFL. Matt Luke at Clemson, who I have a personal disdain for because it was the worst years of Ole Miss football that I can remember in my lifetime when he was the head coach. Brad Davis at LSU, Bill Bedenbaugh at Oklahoma, Jim Harding at Utah, Glenn Ellerby at Tennessee, all really good coaches. Are they better than Kyle Flood? Will they develop talent the way that Kyle Flood does? I don't know. Here's what I would like to know. I would like to know if Steve Sarkeesian wants to fundamentally change the way that he approaches offense. And by that, I mean, he's already hired a running backs coach who does things differently than Chad Scott and Tashard Choice. And they're probably going to do things a little bit differently in the running game. Do you want to bring in an offensive line coach who's going to focus more on power and running the football and moving guys off of their spot rather than what they have now, which is a more pass protection comes first style of offensive line? If he wants to make that change, then yes, I can see them making a change at offensive line coach. But that is probably the $1 million question that we're going to be asking if there's going to be a change there.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% on there, Matt. It is kind of, offensive philosophy. And again, that's why you bring in a Will Muschamp, is we want to change our defensive philosophy, and we can't do that with PK. You can't change your offensive philosophy with Sark if he doesn't want to change it. Doesn't matter who you hire. The philosophy is going to be the philosophy. I can get the arguments for it. I don't think anybody's wrong for suggesting that. But I'm with you. The way CDC works is he likes to have the replacement ready to go. When they fired Rodney Terry, Sean Miller was there, right? That was all done in the same, like when they got rid of who was I can't think of his name now. I met the guy multiple times, the baseball coach before.
David Pierce.
When they got rid of David Pierce, they already had that was the only thing that came out a day early because David Pierce got pissed off on them having to wait. And so David Pierce came out and said that he knew he was fired, but that wasn't supposed to come out until they could name the next coach. So it is something that, there's still more changes in there. Chris Jackson, we know his contract is up at the end of this year or so. Is his going through the rest of this season and through December 31st. And then on January 1st, they say, all right, we've got our new hire, because you don't really want to make all these changes necessarily. It's a very small window between December 31st and the portal. Sorry, I said December 31st and the portal. When you play in your bowl game, you prefer not to make those moves. But for a guy like Will Muschamp, for a guy like Jabbar Jalouk, there may be other job offers. And if you're not willing to make the deal then, they could be gone by the time you get to January. And so it makes sense why these moves are now, where I think we'll see more turnover. Plus, we don't know who's going to leave. Like, again, we could have anybody come out and say, I'm taking a better job.
Yeah. Here's what I think. And Zach, I agree with you. I don't think that you had to fire PK. I think what this signifies to me is that Texas wants to make a fundamental shift in the way that they play football, in terms of, like, what was their issue this year against top teams, and last year against Ohio State and against Georgia? They got pushed around.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that Texas has now signified, with the hiring of Jabbar Jalouk, with the hiring of Will Muschamp, and maybe with the hiring of a new offensive coordinator, or a new offensive line coach, if they decide to move on from Kyle Flood, that they are tired of being that team, that they want to be the team that comes out and hits you in the mouth and is aggressive and physical, and really what Georgia has been the last, decade under Kirby Smart. I think Texas wants to adopt that model, and that's what hiring Will Muschamp and Jabbar Jalouk signifies to me. I want to give PK his flowers too, because I think he deserves it. It sucks that he got fired, because I thought he did a great job at Texas over the last few years. I mean, how many offensive or defensive coordinators can you list to me that have held Oklahoma and Texas A&M to what PK has held them to over the last couple of years?
Yeah. Well, that's the joke, is that Colin Klein went to Kansas State, so now they can get rid of PK.
That was one of the most explosive offenses in the country this year. They held him to 17 points. They had one defensive touchdown last year. They didn't score an offensive touchdown on PK. Oklahoma hasn't scored an offensive touchdown on Texas in 2 years. Like, that means something. I know you're trying to troll Sooner Cowboys, but I'm not going to listen to it. This is what anybody wants to say about PK, and I think he deserves all the respect in the world. I think this is a substantial upgrade.
I think this, for the style of play that we have to get into of SEC play, this is why Jabbar Jalouk is an SEC guy, and Will Muschamp is an SEC guy, and you're trying to surround yourself with more people that can play, as you said, more physical, more aggressive football. And so those, I think PK, again, and we don't know, he could end up somewhere like Boise State again. He could end up in Nevada. And I think if I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm called him already. And I'm like, whatever you want to do. My defenses have sucked forever. PK, you can save my job at USC if you come in and put in your type of defense here at USC. I think
he'll have a job by tomorrow or the next day. He's going to be very coveted.
So I think that when we see it, and it's just when we see how many opt-outs there were in the bowl game this year, when we see all those pieces, it wasn't necessarily the most fun style of football for a lot of these defenders to play. These guys were recruited to be killers, and they weren't necessarily killers. That's what you want. You also talk about about Will Muschamp having the Georgia connection. He is a former Georgia Bulldog himself, played there. He is coached there. He has connections across the SEC in recruiting. That while PK has made those connections now, he is not from that world, where Will Muschamp is much more from that world in recruiting. And when you're going in these battles, now Kirby Smart is going to walk in there and say, yeah, Will Muschamp couldn't even be RDC and he wasn't good enough to. So, you'll get recruited against as well. But it's definitely a push for Texas to try and take that next step forward and be more aggressive in the SEC, not allow yourself to fall behind. Where Sark we've talked about, he is an explosive play guy. And it feels defensively, what he always kind of went with PK for was, we don't want to allow the explosive play on defense. We don't want to allow the explosive play. It feels with Will Muschamp, you're aiming more of, we want to create explosive plays on defense. We want to create game-changing plays of big sacks and interceptions and those types of things. You want to be able to create those more than being worried about getting blown past on one play. You realize you're playing against these great teams. They're going to score on you at some point. You can't, just keep playing to not score. So I think all of those places for Muschamp, it makes sense. It's definitely shocking. And then I said this earlier too, Matt, hats off to Texas for keeping this a secret. That's a good thing for your program to have. It's a very good thing for your program to have, that you can do all of this and have a new coordinator hired before it gets broken on with the best reporters in college sports reporting on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's because there's going to be things you got to do. I don't want to say everybody tampers. I'll let everybody else in college football say everybody tampers, but maybe everybody tampers. So it's nice to have some things on lockdown and to be able to make some moves without everyone blowing it up in your face, because Texas has not always been that sly about things. So I think it's a sign of respect for CDC and his staff and Sark and his staff to be able to pull off some of these moves without people knowing. You just have to be able to do that, or else you're going to get left in the dust because everyone else is going to find out what you're doing.
Pete Thamel didn't know about this. Pete Nakos didn't know about this.
No.
Chris Hummer, Matt Zenitz. In my opinion, the best reporter on the Texas beat with more connections than anybody else. No, not me. Chip Brown didn't know. I assume he didn't know about this because he had to jump off the show.
Yes.
That is something that is, shocking to me, because this stuff leaks everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to keep that in-house and not only move on from two prominent coaches, but hire somebody all in one move without it leaking at all. That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It's a weird piece for Texas to be able to get that done, to basically send out a press release. And we don't know, because again, we're focused. We're looking at Kyle Flood as kind of maybe the fall guy for all of this. And I would say that, I think Kyle Flood's a hell of a coach. I think he'd have another job just like PK will. And I understand why people are upset. I think this also shows that where a lot of people, because Sark is not the guy to come out and throw people under the bus and everything else, that people felt that their anger was being unseen, and that their anger and frustration with this season and the result of it was maybe not as taken as seriously as they felt it needed to be taken. You know, we keep hearing the standard is the standard and all of that in all the chats and everything about this team. This feels like they're holding up to it. This feels like Texas understood that being top 15 is not good enough in today's world, that making the playoffs and getting the 2 semifinals in a row is great, but we need to try and be better.
Yeah. It's like I said a few minutes ago, Patrick. This is something that signifies to me that Sark knew that they needed to make wholesale changes if they want to compete for a national championship. And simply, employing your friends who you trust is good, but if you want to be great, you have to bring in the best. And I'm not saying Pete Kwiatkowski is not one of the best. I'm saying Will Muschamp is better. Jabbar Jalouk is better than Chad Scott. And maybe, I don't know that there are going to be anybody out there that's a better offensive line coach than Kyle Flood. But if you feel like there's a better fit who gives you a better opportunity to win, then make the change.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you'd go to Ohio State because you'd say, look, we're only hiring people that beat us. It's all we're hiring right now is people who beat us. So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely shocking to see that come through. But it's and that's Texas Rocks. That's kind of what we're at. Is there, what are the changes going to be offensively? Again, like, there's still a bowl game. And so a lot of these changes you don't necessarily want to make. And I think, too, we look at it, and defensively you could make this move now because the ship's already sinking, man. Or the ship's just, you're bailing water already defensively. You've already lost, how many guys are opting out of this bowl game defensively? Michael Taft, Jalen Gilbo, Anthony Hill, Leon Lafau's not going to be there. I've heard Ethan Burke now is not going to be there. Like, you've got a lot of names that are, Manny Muhammad's not going to be there. So defensively, this is already such a new unit. You can kind of move into next year with that. Offensively, we haven't heard the opt-outs yet. So if you're saying it's just DeAndre Moore, then you'd like to keep some of the cohesion through the bowl game so you can go into Michigan and feel good about what Arch Manning's hearing, where Arch is at, where the offensive line, all of that stuff. You kind of want to feel better about that going into the game than maybe making a sweeping change before January 1st. But you're going to have to make that change quickly. I believe, like, again, how quickly this was done, it's easy enough to believe that other changes are in the works or things are being discussed that would come out very early into the new year for Texas, because you have to get it out before that transfer portal window starts. So you're making the change, then you like to be able to get it done very quickly. But because your new window is what, January 4th, January 2nd, something like that. It's really early in January.
It's January 2nd. So
you're basically saying we play on New Year's Eve, and then on New Year's Day making announcements, and then the portal starts on the 2nd. And you kind of have to have all this done really quickly. So there's not a big window for change, but if anything's going to happen, it will have already been decided, and they're just waiting because they don't want to shake it up before the bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have to make too many changes before the bowl game, then you're probably going to be in a little bit of hot water against Michigan.
They didn't have any big changes, did they?
No. No, of course not. I think Brendan Marion has already been hired somewhere. I think he's the new offensive coordinator at
Colorado,
yes. Here's the thing, though. I think if you want to bring in a new offensive coordinator, you can still do that and just let Sark call the plays in the bowl game.
I think you could, for sure.
And just let him sit there and absorb and whatever. Here's what I'll say about Sark calling plays. I think he's elite at it. I think that the issues with the Texas offense were not because of Sark this year. I think it was an offensive line thing. I think it was an inability to run the football. And I think that he did a phenomenal job in the second half of the season of disguising those issues and making big time improvements over the last half of the season. If he is going to give up play calling, which I would never expect him to do in a million years, I'm not so sure that he would bring in somebody from the outside to help him do that.
No, I think
he would. I think it would be AJ Milwee who would call the plays because he knows Sark very well. He knows Sark's tendencies. He knows what Sark likes to do. And Sark would still be able to be involved in those conversations. I mean, he still would because he's the head coach, but there would be much more connectivity and chemistry there in terms of having those conversations and figuring out what they want to do. So I don't, that's one spot where like we're talking about making these wholesale changes. If for some reason that did happen, that is one position that I would not expect for there to be an outside person coming in, unless there's somebody out there that I'm not thinking of that he already has a great chemistry and history with.
Yeah. And I can say this, Texas rocks just unequivocally. Brendan Marion will never call plays as long as Sark is coach. Like it's not on the table. That is very different than what Sark wants to do. I'm a big Brendan Marion fan, but what they one of the reasons why I was a big fan of it, Rod Babers was a huge fan of it, of the go-go offense being brought into Texas, was to teach Sark pieces of it that he could take out of it. But it's never going to be Sark's main cup of tea, is the go-go offense. And it doesn't necessarily work at a major power level. So he has to prove that it can work at a Colorado or something like that. So that's kind of there's hangups in that. So, but if Sark's going to bring in somebody to call plays, it's somebody that he really likes their play calling. And I agree with Matt. AJ Milwee's the only guy that I could say off the top of my head would be somebody that he would feel comfortable calling those plays. And again, the same thing with Kyle Flood. I don't know who the hell the offensive coordinator out there who's a big name but would also call plays the way Sark wants plays called. Like, I don't know who that guy is. So it doesn't necessarily feel like you're going to go in there. And keep in mind, by the way, Ohio State's got to get their new offensive coordinator now, too.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get a new play caller. That's another major school you're competing against to go get the best play caller. They've been a little bit more loose with it of who they've gotten. But I could see Milwee happening. I think that would be more interesting if you go. That one seems also like you keep Kyle Flood, though, because now you don't have to make AJ Milwee. You don't have to bring in like a new OC or somebody else. And if you just promote AJ Milwee to OC, it doesn't sound like that would necessarily make the donors and boosters and recruits and everybody else love it that same way.
Chris, I wouldn't hate that. Here's another thing that I'll say about that too. Lane Kiffin was the play caller at Ole Miss when he got there. Yeah. He hired Charlie Weiss Jr. as his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, but Charlie Weiss Jr. did not call plays at first. He called plays this year. He eventually earned the responsibility, and Lane Kiffin took a step back, allowed him to call plays. He still had his hands on the offense and made decisions and all those different kinds of things. If Sark wants to do a similar thing with AJ Milwee, where he's like, all right, I'm going to promote you to offensive coordinator next year. And then the year after that, maybe we'll give you a shot at calling plays.
Yeah.
That's something that I could see happening.
Brian Hartline at Ohio State.
Yeah. That's another one.
Thing. So, yeah, we've seen that. I could believe, like, again, we saw earlier this year, Sark put AJ Milwee up in the box from off the field. And that probably more than anything signified to me that they may be working towards that goal. That this is something that they're working to have the line of communication open where you don't even have to be on the field together, just in the headset. Can we work as an offensive coordinator where I'm on the field, you're upstairs, and I'll be able to now do more things as a full team. But that all being said, having Will Muschamp come in then feels like Sark saying, I don't necessarily need to take care of the defensive end of the ball.
Yeah.
So that, again, takes you away from the world of him giving up play calling, is him saying, no, I'm willing to bring in somebody who has head coaching experience, who is somebody that I can trust to run the organization defensively, that probably doesn't want me in his ear all the time telling him exactly what to do defensively. I'm bringing in someone I trust. So that would make me lean the other way, that I doubt he's giving up play calling, at least this year. But I agree with what Matt said. You may be still training AJ Milwee to be that guy if the moment comes to it, that we need to go in and take that over. So I think you have to keep pushing that forward for both AJ Milwee and for Sark to have that in there. But, I think we all know too, Sark has, with the change of Will Muschamp, which I'm assuming is a Sark decision, not an above his head decision. I would assume it's a Sark decision. That once that's all been said and done, that we get to after next season, if Texas does not achieve what they want to achieve, then, then the best laid plans of we're getting AJ Milwee where we want him to be and everything else kind of goes out the window there. If your offensive line isn't where it needs to be, your offense doesn't, produce the way he wants. If Arch Manning isn't in that next level conversation next season, where he is being treated as one of the best quarterbacks, if you are able to go get a really good running back, and Trey Wisner now, reportedly coming back to Texas next season, if you aren't able to make those two guys work as a running back, if you aren't able to get Ryan Wingo to catch passes better, if you aren't able to get all of those pieces together offensively, people are going to start asking questions, and you can't change the defense again because you just brought in Will Muschamp.
Mm-hmm.
So he feels like maybe he's going to buy himself another year, but everything's on that. So you can train and plan for AJ Milwee to maybe do down the line the guy, but if things don't go right, that you don't necessarily get that chance.
Yeah. We'll have to see how it shakes out. I don't particularly like the idea of making changes at both coordinator spots going into a season that you're supposed to compete for a national championship. I think that is going to be something that's going to end up biting Texas A&M next year because it's going to be wildly different. Then again, I mean, Mike Elko's a defensive play caller there, so maybe it's not a wholesale change. But I mean, look at what happened to the Detroit Lions this year.
Oh, 100%.
Look at what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, if you make too many changes, you can take a step back before you take a step forward. And I hope that that's not the case. I still think that you're not going to find anybody else in college football who's a better play caller than Steve Sarkeesian. Maybe allowing Will Muschamp to completely take the keys of the defense and be like, all right, like, I can focus on the offense and the game management, and all those different things. I'm okay with that. That frees up some responsibility for me in one way, shape, or form. And now I can commit more to making sure that this offense is firing on all cylinders. And then if it doesn't work as well as you'd like it next year, then maybe you have the conversation again. But I don't want them to make too many changes on this staff.
No, I'm with you. Tyler Atkinson did just tweet out, talk about full circle. I'm excited to have Coach Muschamp in Texas. Let's work. Hashtag hook.
Mm-hmm.
So one of your big guys in there you want to see. And that's, I think, you may have been pitching a more aggressive defense, and then behind the scenes, they knew something was in the works. But yeah, this does feel like a win for Texas. This feels like if you have to make a move, you have to change things up. We knew Dwayne Aquino was going to be out, and so that does we figured Dwayne Aquino was going to be out. So I think that also opens you up to, well, who are we bringing in? Because now, it's what guy are you going to be excited about in that secondary? And if it is indeed Blake Gideon that comes back, you're more excited about that because what he was able to do a couple years ago. I think you're just more excited about this defense now, as opposed to a little bit more worried about it. because of how much wholesale change is happening in this defense this year that we haven't really had. This is what our offense went through a year ago of so much wholesale change. But, you feel pretty good right now. You still have Colin Simmons. You've got Justice Terry, who you think is going to be a beast. You've got some other really good young players out there. Grayson Littleton stepped up and showed himself really good. Hoping Jelani McDonald is back next year as well. And then you hit that transfer portal really, really hard. I should say Cade Phillips too. Also another dude who's had a really good finish of the season. You feel good about some of those players. You add in the transfer portal and now a new DC and a new, more aggressive approach going into next season. It feels like a win of the teams that saw us this year and started to figure out PK a little bit more. And that is a whole new ball game when you're talking about defensively, how you match up against Texas next season. Now, can he go out there and put up the same stats and continue to shut teams down and get the ball back to Sark? That is yet to be seen. There is no guarantees in college football, but I do think it's a win overall. Even though PK, again, do not want to talk badly about PK. This is not a firing because he really didn't hit where he needed to. It feels like philosophically that they just finally broke apart of you have to be more aggressive. You have to try and go after players.
Yeah, I agree. If you've been knocking on the door for the last couple years and you take a step back after not making the playoff and really give yourself an opportunity to self-diagnose and figure out where your issues were, and you realize defensively we were good, we were really good, but there are things that I would like to change that would put us on more of a competitive level to a Georgia, then I am totally fine with that decision-making process. This isn't something that he just off the cuff decided, hey, I'm making a change. This seems like a well thought out philosophical decision.
Yes.
I am going to change things in this way because this is how I want to play football. And that's okay. Like I'm telling you guys, PK is going to get a job by the end of the week. Like, if not the week after.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there who's going to find him.
And again, we talk about, when I say SEC coordinator, who are the two best teams that PK game planned against? Oklahoma and A&M.
Texas A&M.
Who are their offensive coordinators? Big 12 guy, Pac-12 guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, even though you're in the SEC now, the teams he was really, really good against were guys who are running offenses that were not necessarily standard SEC offenses. Now with 9 games you're playing, Matt, every season, you're going to see a lot more old school SEC and not as much new school SEC. And if PK is having trouble with old school SEC, then you want to bring in somebody who is more used to it and more used to, we know how we have to go in there and be more physical and how to coach these guys up and get them ready to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, Sooner Cowboys, I love you. You're one of my favorite commenters, but you have been factually wrong on a lot of things you're saying in there. I don't know if you know this, but Tyler Atkinson signed with Texas before they made the decision to move on from PK. So it is what it is. Can we just for 1 second examine the Georgia Bulldogs and what they have done defensively over the last couple of years against Texas, against Alabama, whoever you want to bring up? If you watch that football and that football excites you defensively and you want to be the aggressive defense that gets after the quarterback and is very fundamentally sound and everybody knows where they're supposed to be at the right times, that is what you're going to get now. You're going to get someone who has seen SEC football up close and personal for the last, 15 years, and knows what it takes to be a defensive coordinator in this conference and be an elite defensive coordinator in this conference against everybody.
2 national titles.
That's what you're getting. So be happy about it.
No, I tell you, you're getting a guy who's won 2 national titles in the last 5 years as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Not to be your head coach, to be your defensive coordinator. So you're getting that. And, if you look at why he was at Georgia and why he wasn't the DC at Georgia this season, it was, he said, to step away and spend more time with his family and not being fully immersed. It feels like he did that and was like, okay, maybe there's some butting heads with Kirby, maybe everything else. He may have been looking for his exit. But this feels like something that he was ready to come to Texas and be that guy. He won 2 national titles with Georgia as a defensive coordinator. He has game planned. He was still working with Georgia last season. He just wasn't, his title meant that he did not have to be there as much as he has been there in the past. So this is big. It's a big hire. It's a big move to show Texas is not willing to stand pat after having a 3-loss, really good season. They're not willing to stand pat on that. And I think that's the win you wanted to see was, I want to see something, and I don't just want to see PK fired or Kyle Flood fired. I want to see you progressively make this a better team than throwing darts at the wall. And this is not throwing a dart at the wall. This is going and picking a guy that you have had your eye on for quite some time that you're really going after. He was really good at Texas the first time, named interim coach, gets a head coaching job out of Texas at Florida. And this time he's coming in as a DC. I think it has to be a major win. It has to be a positive step to show that Texas is serious about what they're trying to do, to step forward and say next year is the window. Next year, the window was a year ago. The window was last year, and we missed it. And a couple plays, if they change up with Quinn Ewers, we're already holding up a trophy. But we have that same shot again next season, and we don't want to waste that away. So I'm there. The Kyle Flood would not shock me if he was gone. It would surprise me, but not shock me. I don't know. I don't know the words for it, but it would be, at this point, you go, who are you bringing in? And I think they're only going to let him go if they have a home run like they just felt like they hit with Will Muschamp.
Yeah, let's go back in Will Muschamp's history real quick. Georgia hired Will Muschamp as a defensive analyst in 2021. He worked with the defense and helped the coaches, and he technically was named the special teams coordinator, but he was mostly there for defensive purposes. And then after Dan Lanning left, he became the co-defensive coordinator with Glenn Humann. And let's kind of, and that was in 2022. Let's kind of look at the stats of that real quick. In 2021, Georgia ranked number 1 in the SEC in scoring defense, number 1 in the SEC in rushing defense, number 2 in the SEC in passing defense, and number 1 in total defense. In 2022, they ranked number 1 in scoring offense or scoring defense, number 1 in rushing defense, number 8 in passing defense, and number 1 in total defense. 2023, number 1 in total defense. 2024, number 8. 2025, number 4. Will Muschamp has his hands in that defense, and they are the best defense over the last 5 years in the SEC. You are going to get the Georgia defensive playbook in Austin. Doesn't that sound great?
It does. It does. I'm with you, Matt. I'm excited about it. It's been like, hey, I was excited enough. I hopped on the air. We got the call and then said, all right, let's go on and do it. We are going to take our first break, though. We got to take our first break. We'll come back, talk more about this, talk a little bit about the suspected Trey Wisner news as well, along with the suspected Jaden Baugh news that is coming out, reports about both of those players coming out. We'll get into that. Bama Bruce coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour too. Lots of good stuff still coming for you. Hang out with us. We appreciate you here on a Thursday afternoon. of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street, hold the door for people behind us, tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
You see covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code Texas20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328. And over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and, of course, on YouTube. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. Of course, the big news of the day, PK, Dwayne Aquina, both out at Texas, and Will Muschamp back on the 40 acres working as the new DC of Texas. Seeing a lot of stuff online about people starting to respond to this. Saw a good one from Drew Kelson there online that Will Muschamp bringing that defense is going to help out the offense be tougher. That you're about to go from a defense in practice that didn't come at you full force and wasn't trying to really go after you, to a defense that is going to be more aggressive. And it should help this Texas defense be more ready when you do play Ohio State early in the season. When you start to play these SEC games, the level of play in practice should raise a little bit more because of just Will Muschamp's natural aggressiveness on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you don't think that this is a home run hire, then I don't think you really understand anything about the way that Georgia has played football the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it should be noted that Georgia did take a step back defensively this season a little bit. Will Muschamp took a analyst role because he wanted to spend more time with his family, and that's why that's a major reason why Georgia had an issue defensively this year. His head coaching record and his success as a head coach has nothing to do with anything. He is a elite defensive coordinator. This is an upgrade. This is an absolute home run. I think that this is the best hire that Texas possibly could have made at the position, outside of like potentially convincing Dan Lanning to stop coaching the Oregon Ducks and come be your defensive coordinator. And It's I mean it's a fantastic hire, and I don't think that Texas is going to miss PK. That's no disrespect to PK. I think that you're looking for more SEC style defense, and that is exactly what you're about to get.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what you were looking for. Again, you're looking for Texas to show that this wasn't enough. We have to get better, and defensively, the lapses, even though a lot of the season was really good, the lapses when they were there are the problem. The Florida game defensively was not great. I know it wasn't either offensively. I get that. I'm with you. But defensively, the defense was a problem in Florida. Defensively, the third and fourth quarter against Vanderbilt, not good. Not good to let them come in because you just played off of everybody. Against Georgia, defense wasn't there. So in some of those really key games, the defense wasn't where it needed to be. And it feels like, yes, an offensive head coach is going to put more blame on the defense than maybe is completely fair for PK. But instead of complaining about it, and what I always say, Matt, is I don't want you to tell me who you want fired until you tell me who you're hiring. And that's what Texas did today. If Texas fired PK without the Will Muschamp news, our conversation would be extremely different right now. It would be, why on earth would you get rid of a guy who had a top-ranked defense the last couple of years? Why would you go off of it? And why would you not just get rid of Dwayne Aquino? Why would you make this wholesale move to get rid of your DC? That would have been more of the conversation had it been just one piece. Texas, knowing what's right, knowing how to keep their fans under control, puts it with, we also brought in one of the few upgrades that is available out there in the world of college football to go get a Dwayne Aquino, go get a Will Muschamp, and everybody feels much better about it.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to keep I'm not going to keep answering these Sooner Cowboys comments because it's getting a little.
Yeah, he's just trolling. Don't worry, he's going to be
just trolling.
We're not going to hear from Sooner Cowboys till 2026 after Alabama whoops them.
Yeah, probably. This argument that Kirby Smart is the reason that I love you too. You're a great listener. This argument that Kirby Smart is the only reason that the Georgia defense has been good the last 5 years. I understand why you might think that, because he is Kirby Smart and he is one of the best defensive minds in college football. Why do you think he hired Will Muschamp?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's not hard to figure out. But Matt, I also want to get into this because we also started to get reports today that Trey Wisner is reportedly going to return to Texas. According to a couple of people online. I know it's not fully reported yet, but we're starting to hear more and more that Trey Wisner is reportedly coming back. And then we've also got reports by Chip Brown and others that Jaden Baugh is leaning towards hitting the portal. But which would happen now? Did he not? Is he going back?
No, just some breaking news. Texas has landed 2027 tight end commit JT Garassi. He is from Ramsey, New Jersey, and he picked Texas over Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Vanderbilt.
That's good to have. All right. Appreciate that. Good there. But the report that Jaden Baugh, which is a very sought-after name in college football right now, not just by Texas, by a lot of people. Texas people feel like that Texas has an edge with Jabbar Jaluk, the hiring. Maybe Texas has a little bit of a help if Jaden Baugh does get in the portal. But Matt, if we did say a 1-2 punch of Trey Wisner and Jaden Baugh, does that make you feel pretty good going into next season on the running back? Do you feel good about that?
Hey, if Trey Wisner is back and Jaden Baugh enters the portal,
yes,
which it sounds like he's going to do via Chip Brown, who I think is about as well sourced as you can get in this business, Texas would have the best 1-2 punch at running back in the country. I can't think of a better one.
I mean, there will be some other good ones. We won't know until the portal's done that we'll know who has what, but
I don't think that Texas is going to be the only team that is going to try to go after Jaden Ball.
No, not at all.
I think that the second he hit the portal, potentially, he would be the number one player in the portal. I think Texas would have a leg up in that conversation, considering Jabbar Jaluk is the guy that brought him to Florida and is the guy that developed him into what he is now. So they will probably have a leg up, but I bet Ohio State would be in there. I bet LSU would be in there. I bet just about every other team that you can think of that would possibly, have the money to go get a guy like that would be in on him. He is the biggest game changer I think that you could get in the portal by a wide margin. He's the kind of player that could help you mask the deficiencies of the offensive line that you had this year, because he runs through contact. He's explosive. He can get around the edge. He can shake guys off and then get yards after breaking a tackle. And then you add to the fact that Derek Cooper is going to be in that room.
Yeah. Michael
Terry is probably going to be in that room. Like, that's going to be an elite room if that happens.
I agree.
I think that it's still probably not official that he's going to enter the portal. I think that Chip's reporting is spot on, but I also think that now that has come out, Florida's going to be like, oh, we're going to give you this much more money. And then it's going to become another conversation. And it's just, the bidding war is just going to begin. Unless he has already decided, hey, I'm entering the portal. There's nothing you can give me. I want to go play with Jabbar Jaluk, or I want to go do this, or I want to go.
I just want out of here. I'm not because we've kind of seen that with Florida, is that Summerall's coming in, and I don't think he's doing the wrong thing, but he is doing somewhat of what Sark did when Sark came in, and he is trying to change the attitude and the culture of Florida. So he is trying to come in and lay down the law and say what he wants. And a lot of these guys who can make a lot of money and have been there and have been happy with what they're doing, those guys are looking at that and saying, I don't necessarily want to, I don't want to be part of your rebuild, man. I don't want to be part of your culture shift or all that. I'm good. I'll go somewhere else and go play. This is not what I came to Florida for. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're seeing that in a lot of people. And the question is, can Summerall, while he's still playing in a college football playoff game on Saturday, convince him, or is he waiting? And is that part of it, that Jaden Ball feels disrespected, that this guy's trying to split his time? And he's like, you come to Florida, be Florida, man. I want you to talk about you being in the playoffs while we're not even playing in a bowl game. So there's a lot of things into it. And Eddie, I'll say this. We do run the ball well. Sark has had a 1,000-yard rusher every year. We didn't run it this year because we couldn't. So you got to fix the interior offensive line. You have to fix those pieces first, 100%. But you also need a guy that you feel comfortable handing the ball off to, and that was supposed to be C.J. Baxter this year, and it just wasn't. He wasn't able to go get you those 3-4 yards, and what we saw Jaden Ball do is consistently throughout the year get you those hard-fought yards, and then also have some shake, also be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think you can sell him on if you go. Now, I don't think Jaden Ball is necessarily going to end up, if he picks out where he's going day one of the transfer portal, Texas may be behind on that. But if Texas is able to get a couple of those linemen first, then maybe you bump it up a little bit easier for you to go, okay, now I want to go there.
I don't know. I think that all of that has already, if Texas has, through some other branch of somebody or an agent or whatever, somehow had communication with Jaden Ball, I don't know. I feel like they've probably had that conversation.
Yeah. Sure,
and they're like, we are going to do XYZ and we're going to improve here. So the second that you sign here, we'll be good to go.
Yeah. And then it comes down to, and then we'll probably talk more about this tomorrow or maybe a little bit later in the show because we have Bam Bruce coming up here in a minute. But there's going to be there's a lot of teams that are going to hit the portal very, very hard this year. Texas is not alone in waving a bag of cash right now. This is a team that there's going to be several teams waving bags of cash around for offensive linemen, because this is not you think Alabama ain't going to be coming after offensive linemen after they couldn't run the football this year?
They will.
By the way, if you want to know who would hire Kyle Flood for offensive line coach, it'd be Alabama. They go, Hey, let's go get him back again. Because he was there with Saban, so they may go after him. But you just look at that, and I think when we look at Jaden Ball and hopefully Trey Wisner, if you were able to look at that, I think they're still going to be able to go out and try and get somebody. I'm with you. I'm really curious to see what Michael Terry does in the Citrus Bowl, because if he's able to be a power back, if he's able to show that progression, then it feels like that's another step forward. That's another piece that Texas could have to aim themselves in a way where you're like, okay, if we miss on Jaden Ball, if someone else goes out there and the bag is just too big, where we're talking about $5 million, $6 million, and you're like, all right, come on now. We're having to steal from so many other positions to try and get this done, where the money keeps going up and up and up. Then I could see them going, okay, we'll get there, but you have to have the wins with Michael Terry. You have to have the wins in some other places or another running back. Jaden Ball just feels like you don't want to end up how OU ended up with Jaden Knott, where he was a guy that was a really good running back and then had an injury, and you were banking on him being able to come back after that injury and a down year playing up a level. So you can go find somebody at a lower level. You can find somebody that maybe is looking for a fresh start, like CJ Baxter for Texas, looking for a fresh start. That is a 5-star guy. You can find those. Ball feels like another one of those. Okay, well, we're pretty sure this one's a home run.
Yeah. Jaden Ball is probably what CJ Baxter was supposed to be had he not been injured.
Yep.
Steve Sarkeesian's ideal offense is not necessarily what you saw this year, especially in the second half of the season where they were just airing it out.
But not even downfield.
Right. But that's not what he necessarily wants to do. Yes. What he wants to do is go watch Alabama tape when they had Najee Harris. Go watch Texas tape when they had Jonathan Brooks healthy. Yes. That is what Texas wants to do. And Jaden Ball would allow them to do that, assuming they fix the interior of the offensive line, which I think that they're probably going to do.
I think well.
There's a lot of good interior offensive linemen who have already announced their intentions to enter the portal. I don't know how many of them they're in on, but I can guarantee you they're making some phone calls.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Like, you got to be. And we know some of those. One of those teams is going to be Alabama. So why don't we bring in our man, Bama Bruce? So we see him come back into frame here before I bring him on. There he is. Hey, my man, Bama Bruce joins the show. He is our SEC homer. He is getting ready for a big playoff game tomorrow. Bruce, how you doing, brother?
Look, I've entered the transfer portal. I'm unmuted, and I got my ears on. Let's see what I can screw up today. What can I screw up today? Yes, I'm excited for the game. Is the defense is Oklahoma's defense gonna get them? Oh, wait. I had this one thing. Let me. Texas just got Muschamp. Did they not?
They did get Muschamp. Muschamp is a new DC of Texas. Yes.
Okay, I just had that came out of left field as me. But is it gonna? I think that Alabama has had enough time to reassess how horrible they played in the SEC championship, and I think they've had enough time to assess the things that went wrong in the Oklahoma game, even though they did. I mean, they outplayed them by 200 yards. But the takeaway from the defense is the defense going to act the same. I think DeBoer is going to have a different approach. That's logically speaking. I mean, he has to, because last time the defense just took the ball away from him crazy.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you, Bruce. And I will use Texas versus Georgia last season in the regular season.
Yes, sir.
as compared to Texas versus Georgia in the SEC championship game. Those two games were played completely differently by Texas. Part of it is they were much more aggressive defensively. They were much more methodical offensively. And I think I think Alabama can take the same approach with Oklahoma. Like, okay, look, if we can get rid of these turnovers, we know how to move the ball against this defense. We can make that work. We just have to get into the end zone on a couple of occasions. We have to not muff a punt, Ryan Williams, for the love of God, do not muff that punt. and just if you can play the same game that you played against Oklahoma in terms of yardage and those kinds of things, and just even just one turnover instead of three, you're going to beat him. And I don't think it's that hard for Kalen DeBoer to diagnose what went wrong and implement some changes going into the second matchup.
I feel you 110%. Is Oklahoma going to change their scheme? Like, hey, this is what we did, and we didn't really do it. We did it okay, but their defense just was so threatening and took the ball away. They're going to probably have a new scheme. I would think. Now, has Mateer really gotten better? It's his thumb okay? Or okay, well said. And then, but is he? They're going to rely on him running his butt off the whole time. Alabama has, I think, their tight end is coming back. Their the tackle is coming back, offensive tackle, and Jam Miller, which I think is totally overrated. I just don't think he's a good back. They got him coming back, but in order for Alabama to win this Oklahoma game, Alabama has to rush for more than 100 yards. They have to, because if they rely on, those bad so-and-sos from Oklahoma rushing and getting Ty out of sync, game over.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a ball control game to a certain extent in two different aspects. One is who can actually move down the field and continue to hold the ball, put the other team's defense a little bit on their heels, put the defense, get them tired, make the defense play more plays. But also, both these quarterbacks have been turnover prone lately. Ty Simpson started off the season great, but Brent Venables is going to dial up everything he can to get him to throw some interceptions in this game. And so how do you steer away from that? How do you get John Mateer, who's going to probably hit 2 good passes and throw 7 bad passes? Like that's what John Mateer has done all season since he's played actual real competition. Is he's had those problems of not making the best decisions at times. So both teams are going to be trying to force those turnovers by the quarterbacks. And then also on the other end, just trying to get a little bit of that running game going to put yourself in positions where a Ty Simpson can pick up a 3rd and 3, or John Mateer can scramble for a 3rd and 3 versus having to make these big heroic plays, which neither offense you have any faith whatsoever to go make those big heroic plays. So it does feel like who can make less mistakes. Matt mentioned the Ryan Williams punt muff. For Alabama fans, Nick Saban was really good at scaring the living shit out of his players that if they made a mistake, their grandma was going to be taken hostage that night.
And their first kid and their first child.
Can Kalen DeBoer get this team to play at that level?
Matthew, what do you think, man?
I mean, yeah, I think I think he obviously takes a very different approach than a Nick Saban or a Kirby Smart. But I think that this guy is one of the best offensive minds in the country. And I think that given, what has it been, 3 weeks since they played a game now? I think giving 3 weeks of preparation to self-diagnose and 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of I know who we're going to play now of preparation for that football game, I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. That being said, Brent Venables is also a brilliant defensive mind. So this is going to be a chess match.
Yeah,
I agree, man. And like, what happened to the down the field threat that Alabama used to have? What in the hell? It's like They got some of the best receivers out there. We're like, oh, good receiving core, and he's throwing the hell out of the ball. I don't know what happened to that down the field threat. Can any of you guys tell me? It's a football thing.
I can tell you they can't run the football. And if you can't run the football, you drop everybody back. And so that's the problem is once you can drop everybody back in coverage because you're 4 or 5 linemen in one linebacker, you can play 4 or 5 guys on that and put everybody else back. It makes it way, way harder to make those deep passes. Safeties don't have to creep up, everything else. If you're able to run the football, it opens up Ryan Williams downfield. So again, when you said you want to see Jam Miller or you want to see just the running backs in general for Alabama be able to get going, that to me is the biggest piece. That's just really hard against this Oklahoma defense because they've been great at stopping the run all year. If we could send you Trey Wisner Trey Wisner knows how to tear up this Oklahoma defense, so you can watch those.
Something.
But you want to find something to get that going because if you do push him forward, then Oklahoma's going to have a hard time because no one can really keep up with Ryan Williams. The problem has been this year, he's got guys on him all the time because they can't run the football.
I think he is after the thing about this kid, obviously he's a kid and he's dropped the ball a bunch, but I think his positive uptown is when he catches the ball, making a miss without whatever Houdini shit he does, which you've seen, firsthand. I just want that down. So there you go. So with no running game, that's out. They took the down the field throw, that's out. That constricts you. Obviously, that's why they've sucked the last bit.
Yeah, no, it's been rough. You're playing 11 on 11, and the reality is the defense has an edge up because they don't have a quarterback. So you have your quarterback it's not really going to be trying to run as much or whatever else. So you're saying 10 on 11, they have to defend 10 guys, and the 11th is there. If they can blitz more, if they can just do whatever they want because they're not worried about your run game, that's where those things happen. So they do have to do it. The flip on that is, Oklahoma can't run the football either. Like both these teams are very similar that they're turnover-prone quarterbacks at the end of the season. They're both can't run the football. Oklahoma probably has an edge defensively, but I do think Kalen DeBoer has a chance to put out some schemes and things. And if Alabama doesn't turn the ball over, they've got a really, really good chance to win this game.
Matthew.
Yeah, Oklahoma has an edge over Alabama in terms of defense. I don't think that's a secret.
All day long.
It's a really, really good defense. It's a very physical defense. The pass rush is elite. I don't know if they're getting R. Mason Thomas back or not. Even if they don't, they're going to have a good time defensively. That's just what they do. And Brent Venables coaches them up really well. Alabama, I think, has the most important advantage in this game, though. Quarterback. I think Ty Simpson is miles ahead of what John Mateer is as a quarterback.
If he's not pressured,
if he gets time to throw, he is going to pick you apart. And I think that when it comes down to a game like that, I'm going to pick the better quarterback, and I will always pick Ty Simpson over John Mateer, because even when John Mateer puts up big stats, it's because a screen pass went 90 yards. Or there's a broken coverage. He has no patience. He is bad with decision making.
1, 2, run.
He's the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man from Family Guy. Like one play, he'll make an amazing throw that like not a lot of people in college football can make, and then the next 10 plays, you're like, what the hell is this guy doing? And that is not a sustainable method that is going to get you wins in the college football playoff, in my opinion.
Not against.
It's going to work against 7-5 LSU or who these other teams some of these other teams that they beat that
not
aren't
great
complete
Michigan.
teams. Yeah, Michigan or Tennessee, like these teams that aren't good, like great teams. But when you get into the college football playoff and you play playoff caliber teams, it's going to eat you alive.
It is.
You have given me a little promise, man. And so I actually I'm going to stop drinking a little bit now because you've given me hope. You've given me hope, and I'm gonna run with that angle. On another note, Alabama, they just one of the I think it was the Auburn receiving coach jumped ship and came to Alabama, and so there's that. But the tricky thing about that is Coleman gonna hit the transfer portal and maybe come with him, or that other badass dude from Auburn? That's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I mean, we could see those moves for sure. The portal is going to be nuts, as we know.
Blazing.
It's going to be blazing. I'm going to wait for your Alabama-Oklahoma prediction till the end, but I want to talk about the other games happening this weekend too. Let's talk about Miami and Texas A&M. This is probably the second best game, or it is. I mean, it's either the best game or the second best. There's two real games in the college football playoff first round, and there's two games that I'll be shocked if they're within single digits. But Miami versus Texas A&M right now. A&M's a 3.5-point favorite. It's at Kyle Field. These are also true home games. They're not neutral site games for the first round. So you're at Kyle Field, but it's 11 a.m. We know that the Aggies haven't necessarily gotten up for all their 11 a.m. games. It feels like you got to get up for this. This one, though, is a game of pass rush, of people coming after the quarterback. And is Carson Beck or Marcel Reed going to, maybe, flail a little bit before they get to the end of it?
First of all, they're playing at Kyle Field. And from what I've heard, the one thing I heard is Alabama, LJ, the linebacker, said it was probably one of the hardest environments he's ever played in. And that place is going to be so raucous. They've never had a playoff there, or period, right? I mean, so they're going to be I think the biggest thing is Miami getting used to all those rednecks and hillbillies out there, getting after. And they said that whole stadium pulsates. It just does. And then they got Moss. I think his name is Moss. Their number one.
Le'Veon Moss. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. I think they got him back, and so their receiving core is going to be on point. And with getting Le'Veon Moss back, it's going to take a lot of slack off, their quarterback, so he can breathe a little more and do his thing. And I'm seeing a dismantling of Miami. I'm sorry. I know they've not really. They're there, and they do play in the ACC or whatever. But I'm thinking, Texas A&M is strong, and so is Texas Tech. Those are going to be my Cinderella stories, or so to speak, out of everything. I think, like I said, Georgia and Indiana, but I think that A&M is going to blast them.
I'm going to give you an argument for each team in a way that I think they have an advantage. For Miami, actually, it's really just we'll start with Texas A&M. But Malachi Toney from Miami leads the nation in receptions and yards on screen passes. He has 323 yards on screen passes this year, and he has 623 yards after the catch. Texas A&M is the number one team in the country allowing 2.4 yards per screen attempt. And that is Miami's biggest strength with their best offensive player. So that's going to be an issue for Miami. On the other side of it, Miami runs inside zone or gap concept, good Lord, on 78% of their rushing attempts. Texas A&M allows 5.5 yards per carry, which is the sixth worst amongst Power 4 teams, 3.9 yards after contact per carry, which is the fourth worst nationally, and 5.4 yards per carry allowed on inside runs and gap concepts. So both of these teams have a big advantage in one area that the other could exploit. I think that given the fact that Texas A&M apparently pumps artificial crowd noise into their stadium per Nick Saban, I give Texas A&M the advantage. I think that this game is going to be won on the line of scrimmage, though. I think this Miami defensive line against the A&M defensive line and vice versa is going to be absolutely critical, because if you can get pressure on Carson Beck and get him off of his spot, he's going to have big issues and he's going to make mistakes. Marcel Reed, on the other hand, if you put pressure on him, he can get outside the pocket and he can beat you with his legs. You have to be able to contain him. So I think this is going to be a very defensive battle, low scoring, like 17-14 or 20-17, something like that.
That you have your data intelligence was just amazing in that little cut you did. Good
I can't
Lord
take
have
credit.
mercy.
I can't
That's
take credit for
badass,
it.
dude.
I can't take credit for it. One of my guys on Texas A&M Aggies on SI wrote that story, and
That's
broke it down
badass,
with
man.
numbers. So
Jesus
shout
Lord.
out to Diego.
There you go.
That dude.
I do think, Nick Saban did no favors to Miami going on Pat McAfee today and saying they pipe noise into Kyle Field, because it just means they're going to be more insane at 11 a.m. They're starting to drink now.
Dude, they're like camping out. They're like eating roast beef sandwiches and hottie toddies, and they're camping out right now at Kyle Field. Trust me.
Yeah. So that one's going to be, I mean, that one is one, I don't know why it's the 11 a.m. game, unless they just really wanted to get ratings early because they thought they'd get better ratings with the other ones later. We do see Tulane and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 17.5-point favorite in this game. It's a weird coach game. Lane Kiffin no longer the head coach of Ole Miss. John Summerall no longer the head coach of Tulane. However, he will be coaching this game, but he's half in and half out. He's half at Florida. So it's just kind of a weird all-around coaching world for this game, for both teams to come into it. This is another matchup of two teams that played earlier this season, but it just, I don't see, unless Ole Miss completely crumbles, where they're just in their own head and don't show up because it's Tulane and they don't care. I think Tulane's a good team. I think they can keep it in the number. I think they can keep it in with 17.5. But I don't necessarily think they can keep it within single digits. So, I don't know where the line is where they could win that game.
I mean, all gas, no brakes, as Sark said. I just think that Chambliss and all those cats over there, dude, those dudes are angry in a good way. They're angry. They want to shock the world. They want to go in and blow these dudes out by 40. They want to show Lane Clifton that he is not the guy. He's not. Golding, he's stepping in that job. That's his first one. I get it. He's a great defensive mind, came from Alabama, and I think they got it. And I honestly think they're gonna take it by 24 points. And they're just not. I mean, look what they did in the first. And I know that's what the first time they met. I know that's what we talk about. Well, maybe they made adjustments. Man, their coach is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That coach is gone. But the talent on that Ole Miss team is stupid.
Yeah. Matt, do you want to defend your Rebels winning by 30?
Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Ole Miss by 30.
Yeah.
No, I think that Pete Golding is really buckling down on, a mentality of, being together and proving people wrong and
all day long,
not relying on the Lane Kiffin and all that stuff. I think he's going to hammer home a lot. I think he brings a different sort of mentality to the program in terms of aggressiveness and intensity. And I think that they're just going to be playing with each other. And I think that John Summerall, on the other hand, is probably distracted by his Florida responsibilities. And I think that that's going to play into Ole Miss's hands a lot. And I think that they're going to win by 30.
Handily. I said, you got 6 on me. I said 24. So I think they're going to cover. Come on.
Then we get James Madison versus Oregon. Oregon's a 21-point favorite in this game. This one to me is even more ridiculous than Tulane versus Ole Miss. So Tulane, Ole Miss, I get it. Tulane would be the one group of 5 guy that got in. They've had a decent program the last couple of years. James Madison talent level, there isn't the guy on James Madison that I really feel like they can run the football. They can play some defense. I get that. I don't know if they have enough guys that are going to be big enough, strong enough to control the lines and do what they need to do against Oregon, who has a really good team. And this also feels like a Dan Lanning special of we're upset that Texas Tech was ranked above us and got a bye. So we're going to go show the committee by putting up 60.
Air raid all day long. And just like you said earlier, both the trenches are like, I don't know the facts like Mr. Intelligent Data guy here. I just would think that Oregon would probably outweigh them by 30 points or 30 pounds on both sides of the line. And the talent, like you said, and this is why everybody's going to get a participation trophy, and that's what those two teams are. Now, if we're totally wrong and something happens, that's the beauty of college football. That's why we play the game. So, but if it's smashing, as the point spreads say, as we have talked about, then why would you have that? Why would Notre Dame or Oregon and Notre Dame, Oregon and Vanderbilt, Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, Ole Miss and Notre Dame, shut the front door. It's like that's the type, and it is going to 16, and I get it, but these these trophies that we're going to be seeing here, if it does go the way we say, they need to do away with that. Y'all need to have if there's the FBS and the Sun Belt and all them doing all that, y'all have your own little national championship,
I think everybody in the country outside of Harrisonburg, Virginia, wants Oregon to win this game by 50.
Yeah. Oh, I think 50 is low.
And I think that's what's
trying to tell you. I agree with you, man.
Although I will say James Madison has a really good quarterback, and I think he's better than John Mateer.
Oh, there you go.
Really, I you know what? I agree with that, man. But I think he's going to be just pressured like Georgia did. To be honest with you.
We will see. All right, Bruce, circling back now. Your prediction, OU currently favored 1.5 points. They are at home against Alabama. Matt has given you reason to believe. What do you feel? What's your final score prediction or your final prediction for Alabama, Oklahoma?
Because of this madman analyst over here, I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance. If they hold on to the ball, as we all know, I think there's a chance, and I'm going to have to go roll effing Tide all day long. And let me tell you this, if they can beat Oklahoma, they're going to beat Indiana. And I'm saying it right now.
All right. I like the confidence. Bruce. We appreciate you joining us. That is your SEC homer, Bama Bruce. Vallejo, Antone, January 9th. Go check him out. Get your tickets now. Bruce will be playing some guitar at that gig, having a good old time. But, Bruce, we appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for some Alabama whooping some Oklahoma butt.
Be cool, Matthew. Be cool, Pat. Roll Tide. Thank y'all.
There we go. Thanks to Bruce there for hanging out, Bruce Castleberry. It is 5:48 p.m. and OU still sucks, Matt. So we can't say that, leaving Bama Bruce as we go. Let's take our second break real quick, Matt. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show. We'll see if we get any more crazy breaking news here in the next 12 minutes as we wrap up a show that was a bit off schedule for what we were going to talk about, but it gives us more to get into tomorrow here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you got hip problems, if you got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck and Relax the Back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to SendTexTickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. SendTexTickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's SendTexTickets.com.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered as we get to the end of the show on a Thursday afternoon. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us with the wild news of Will Muschamp being the new defensive coordinator here at the University of Texas. We did get other somewhat breaking news, Matt, but in a sense for it's more for the NFL. Deron Bland apparently going to need foot surgery.
Well, that stinks.
So once again, having to go back under the knife, apparently. He is apparently right now looking for a second opinion because that is disappointing to hear for Deron Bland as you hope they can figure out something. We keep hearing that Matt Eberflus is most likely gone. Eberflus said he's going up to the box now. He'll be up from the coaching box for these last 3 games, trying to do anything different, but it feels like his job is already pretty much done.
Yeah, I mean, I make a change. Sure, I don't think that's going to help you very much.
Nope.
Because you don't have the players.
No, and you maybe don't have the GM. Maybe there's not a culture there yet. I know Shotty's trying to bring it, but difficult. Matt, tonight, will you be watching Thursday Night Football? Your boy, Matt Stafford, and the Rams, 11-3, trying to take a hold of this division against the Seattle Seahawks, 11-3. Who knew Sam Darnold was going to be the kiss of luck? Left Minnesota. Now he comes into Seattle. They're both at 11-3. San Francisco nipping at their heels at 10-4. Huge game for the Rams on a Thursday afternoon. We assume Davante Adams isn't going to be there. What do you think? Are you watching the game tonight? Are you excited for Matt Stafford at a big Thursday Night Football game? It's going to be wonky.
Yeah, I'm probably going to watch a little bit of it. I have a Christmas lights planned tonight that will probably take up some of the evening. But outside of that, I'm going to be tuning in for this one. I'm going to be watching in Prime Vision, and I'm excited to see Matthew Stafford light up that Seattle Seahawks defense.
You got to watch in Prime Vision. It's very important to always watch in Prime Vision. Definitely, yeah, it's a big one. What do you think? Let's see what the spread is on this one, Matt. My computer loads. It is Seattle 1.5-point favorites as they are at home. I'm guessing you're taking the Rams all day.
Taking the Rams in every game for the rest of the season, Patrick.
Oh man, I mean that race right there in that division is nuts right now. All those teams
division in football.
Them in the AFC South, man. Who would have thought those two divisions would be killing it right now? I don't think anybody thought the AFC South was going to have 3 10-win teams. I don't think that was on anybody's bingo card.
Actually, I might change my pick. I'm not sure.
Oh, who's missing? Who's out?
Davante Adams is officially inactive, so I'm not sure.
Well, we knew Davante. Yeah, after last week, I figured he was out.
I was kind of holding out hope.
But we do get our meathead of the day who plays into this game, Matt, which he did an interview yesterday, and it just didn't go well.
Wide receiver of all time.
I'm a Julio Jones. I think.
For real?
Yeah, I love.
Oh shit.
I go AB.
AB unstoppable.
That's the thing. Those two are like.
So the clip there, this is just a small clip to say that Puka Nacua wins the meathead for the entire interview, in which the most egregious to me clearly was that he says that Julio Jones is the greatest receiver of all time, and it's Jerry Rice. There's one right answer. It's Jerry Rice. That's just one right answer. When you take top of his game level of play and then longevity, and you add those two factors in, there's no one close.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that Julio Jones, though, is probably the most dominant wide receiver that I have ever seen play football.
He is
when
Julio
he was
Jones,
at his best.
Yes, Julio Jones at his best was very, very good. I'll give him that. But he also, during that interview, basically said all women are evil and and gold diggers because he is currently in a fight with his baby mama. He also had to apologize for anti-Semitic remarks because they asked him to do a touchdown dance that was a anti-Semitic meme that is going around, which he did not know. I get he did not know that. I would not have guessed that was a thing that was a pre-existing. I would have been like, oh, it seems a little weird, but I get it. So that one he had to apologize for. Then we also throw in that he said that the Jags are the most overrated team, which maybe they are. He went, but you can't really go after other playoff teams right before you go in the playoffs. You probably don't want to go after that as well. He just kept kind of saying dumb stuff. And then he also said, I can't even live in LA because, and they're like, he only makes $1 million his rookie season, which I get. You got to pay agent fees and taxes and everything else. So he's probably only making like $400,000 this year. So he clearly can't afford to live in LA making $450,000. It's too little, man. He can't get he's like, I have to live in an apartment. And you're like, well, first of all, you could own a house if you wanted to, because someone would give you a great rate on it because you play in the NFL. And then they just repossess it if you didn't get it back. But we have to stop pretending. As a guy who walks with a briefcase made of gold that's got a window in it with his cleats in it to every game, you cannot complain about money. Guy who drives nice cars. Also, his brother just got arrested for stealing a car, which we don't know if he knew the guy and then took it unused, like that he wasn't allowed to use it or whatever, but his brother just got arrested for that. It's all over the world, not going well this week for Puka Nacua, but he's got to be the dude tonight because there is no Devontae Adams.
Well, I can't necessarily, this is going to be a really bad thing to say on the air, Patrick. I'm not sure if I could say it, but I'm going to anyway. Sorry, BK. I'm not sure that I'm surprised that Puka Nacua has a baby mama because of the rules that they implement at BYU. And since he got away from those rules, he probably just decided, hey, this is amazing. I'm going to run roughshod over LA. And now he's got a baby mama, and now they're in a fight. And that's a good shout also, Chris, and Texas Rocks. Megatron was an absolute animal.
Yeah, he was amazing. Jerry Rice wins it because at his prime, he was the best wide receiver in the league by a pretty good margin. And then he played for freaking ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you look at Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, when you go on the GOAT and you go, yeah, Patrick Mahomes plays another 12 years of like good, successful football, he can get in that conversation. But the fact that Tom Brady was still playing in the playoffs in his 40s, that's how you start to really be like, oh yeah, no one else could do it for as long. Like be that good for that long is just another level of how you become not just freakishly talented and smart and everything else, but also work your ass off so hard to get where you can be.
Yeah, I agree. I love Jerry Rice. I was a Cowboys fan and I like Jerry Rice.
How do you not like
That's
Jerry
how
Rice?
much respect I had for Jerry Rice. What did he play for 25 years?
He
was unbelievable.
Yeah, when he had that, his hairline was starting like here, starting where my headphones are.
Like when he was with the Raiders.
Oh yeah, back in Raiders, Jerry Rice. All right, Matt. We got more. We got a lot to get into tomorrow because we didn't get into almost any of our topics for today. because of Texas just going out there and making a huge move, trying to hit home runs out there, signing Will Muschamp to be the new defensive coordinator. But that means tomorrow we'll pick it up again, and hopefully I won't have to hop on for Chip for other news. So we'll go 2 hours, have an open bar, open gym Friday. We've only got 3 shows left till Christmas, Matt, because we're only doing Monday, Tuesday next week. So a lot to get into, to enjoy here, as we appreciate everybody hanging out with us during the holidays, sticking with us here at Texas Sports Unfiltered and Open Gym. So be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow